Right, I'm back again. I'm doing the Boudica one again today. I made a lot of improvements since the last video. The dialogue is a lot better now in terms of the modern tone. I understand what people mean now when they speak about it, because I know there's a lot of drama with this Odyssey film that's coming out. And I used the robot as well to help me kind of tidy up certain bits of dialogue and just try and understand that sort of period correct tone, if that makes sense. I've also changed some names as well, so there's going to be a lot of nonsense names in it now. So it's mainly the war chiefs. You know, naming them after orcs on Shadow of War probably isn't a good idea, so I found some period appropriate names and changed the names. But yeah, I'm just going to whiz through it again. So that would be like a, did you call it a title card? Traffic fleet of flat bottom boats containing Roman army approaches Mona. The Gemini some of the steeds alongside the boats. Just had to cough, and I've noticed I can mute the mic now, so if I need a cough or drink or something, I'll mute my mic. An army of Celts of equal numbers awaits the Romans, Druids walk across the Celtic front line, women adorned in black robes wielding torches. They scream curses at the Roman army and speak religious proclamations rallying the Celts. So this is all the same as last time. I might just try and whiz through this, because I don't have as long today. Will you allow your spirit to be broken by screeching women? Have you no faith in your own gods? So this is very much his speech. He has two speeches at Watling Street, and this is one of them. Better for us to fall fighting bravely than to be captured and impaled. To look upon our own entrails cut from our bodies. Let us therefore either conquer them or die on the spot. Britannia shall be a noble monument for us, even if all the other Romans here should be driven out, for in any case our bodies shall forever possess this land. I feel like if you've got someone who's good at speaking, that'd be epic, that. Right, so they're marching, this is all very similar. Yeah, so... yeah, so the Romans just blitzed them. And then I added like a little bit of an extension. I did a scene break. I did mention in the last video about maybe breaking it up. Yeah, so I've deleted that speech now. I've had to delete some of my favourite bits in terms of stuff that isn't period appropriate but was just getting in because it was in my head. I'm just going to shut the window. Probably hear the dogs in the background as well. Very noisy, this house. So the Romans carved through the Celts at ease. It's a bloodbath, a massacre. The surviving Celts begin to flee. They know this battle is lost. And then Paul proudly observes. This bit's just the same. So Boudica and Prasutagus are going to London here. So blah de blah. I really like that. I give that Cassio guy his due. He's good with words. And then blah de blah de blah. Battles of Rome plagues me even at this great distance. Wait until we grace the city. Right, so they're in Londinium. There is no soul in this city. Curious Roman civilians watch them go. We shall not be here for long. Wish they would avert their foul gaze. They are just curious. Right, so Rigona. So the robot was saying that that's basically the equivalent of Your Majesty. So they would call her Rigona and they would call the king Rig. For many, This shall be the first and only sight of royalty. Woman, woman and a boy. Right, gather one of your sculptors and you shall have my likeness forevermore. Mother, what did she say? It's starting to rain a lot, but I can't. You probably hear the background noise really bad. Let me. There's nothing I can do. It's just hitting the. What I'll do is I'll put a bit of music in the background. Hopefully that drowns it out. But I'm not going to be able to get rid of that background noise until it stops. Yeah, so the Roman woman just calls her a barbarous whore. So barbarous is for a woman, and then barbarian is more for the man. Oh, such pompous idolatry. Sergus chuckles to himself, yeah, because he's just like, she's just done nothing but whinge the entire journey. So he's just like, oh my god. Boudica glares at him, but she cannot help but smirk. So they're having a bit of flirting. Speak only truth, Rig. Yes, and your truth has been assailing my ears all morning. Right, here we go. So Pompous arrives, Leanus. Greetings, my friend. Right, so I changed this bit. He just says, do my ears deceive me, Synatagus? He can say hello and count to 10, but that is all. The Procurator expresses his gratitude for your lengthy travels. We shall attend him at the amphitheatre. So I made a slight change there. He seems to be in Londinium a lot, but some sources say he's in Colchester. And then other sources are like, yeah, but he was in London when shit was going down. So it's like, you need to make your mind up. So what I've done, he's just always in London now. Unimpressed by one King Pursugus fucks Boudica's arm. Come along, you. Even I could make a woman out of this one. I do not disagree. So again, it's a bit of flirting. Because they know he can't understand. Right, yeah, so we're meeting the Procurator now. This is all very similar. Right, so I've improved this here. Because he was like, oh, the Emperor has me by the metaphorical bollocks, so whatever. It's not appropriate, is it? Let's be honest. So let's just make it simple and proper. The Emperor requires an increase in your annual tribute, 1,000 measures of grain or its value in coin, effective from summer. The Emperor is increasing the annual tribute, 1,000 measures. Yeah, he's just translating. Certainly, for it is money, money, money for the gluttonous Rome. They shall strip our land bare and bodies bare. Tell him we will solemnly swear by this increase, but I desire access to trading routes on Watling Street. I did remove that, but then I added it back in. It is plausible. King accepts the proposals, kindly requested access. Yeah. I'm sure we can make this arrangement. Ooh, you will love this one. Right, so this is that Finton champion of the Icena. So he's called nonsense name now. Kunomorus. Yeah, so there's a lot of nonsense names. They call him the champion of the Icena. Our women particularly enjoy him, as does my purse, because he bets on him a lot. So this is all very similar. Obviously, he's lapping it up with the women. I know another woman who loved him, his mother. I remember when you stole him from her embraces. You have so many of our young men. True. And he obviously translates it in a nicer way. She wouldn't be so abrasive if she knew that he could understand her. Boudica hopes nonsense name and the other boys sent us tribute are serving Rome well. And then Boudica leans into King Pursugus, looking at him, trying to get a rise out of him. He cannot help but smile. And I made this a bit more proper. You're a thorn in my side, do you know that? Boudica kisses King Pursugus, still leans her head on his shoulder and watches the fight. It shall not be long now. They call us uncivilized, yet they find pleasure in slaughter. So nonsense name wins the fight. Crowd loves it. He loves it because he's just won another grand. Crown screams its affection. Right, so Gladiator got this wrong. So many raise their thumbs indicating death, whilst others keep their thumb tucked into their hand. And then this guy called the editor, it's kind of like a referee in a way. He's just like, death it is. Nonsense name acknowledges Boudica and King Pursuit before stabbing the opponent. I improved this bit as well. A remarkable people, the Iceni. Back home, they said Claudius crossed the ocean to civilize beasts. What possessed him, I thought, to do as such? Yet here we stand, bound by treaty, if not by trust. So admittedly, the robot helped me with that. Well, it helped me with a lot of the dialogue, I'll be honest. So I've plugged into the robot. This is my dialogue. Assess it for modern... There's a nonsense word, anachronistic or something. And the robot would be like, oh, this bit is anachronistic. He wouldn't speak like that. And I'm like, well, tell me how he would speak. Do this dialogue, but how he would say it. In English. Because obviously, they'll be speaking Latin in the movie. But it needs to be proper English to translate into Latin. And then it just sort of spits out some dialogue. Some of it is decent, so I'll be like, oh right, I'll use that. Other bits might not work as well, so I might go, right, I'll use that little bit, and then I know how to reword the ending, let's say, a bit better, but I get the gist. It's a really good tool. I might do a short video explaining that. It took ages to go through it. It took me about 3 days or more, of like 8 to 10 hours. The Iceni are a friend of Rome. Let us drink to our friendship. He wants to toast the friendship. Let us indulge him. And then I changed this. I think I changed it during the video, didn't I? So he gets sick. Yeah, so he's vomiting on that woman pretty much. I apologise, King of Sirius collapses, and then she's like, my love. Right, and they improved this bit as well. He has a great swelling, it is not fit for the knife. I can offer a purge to cleanse the humours, but its power is slight. That's so sweaty. There's no chance I'd be able to muster that on my own. How long? Weeks, perhaps months. Do not speak of this to my wife. And then we're back in the Iceni now. People are just going about the day. Sinatigus searches for King Pursuitigus. He finishes dictating his will to a scribe. The proposals herein shall lead to a prosperous future between the Iceni and Rome. Because he would have thought that. The scribe finishes writing, passing the will. He calls him Rig instead of Your Majesty. I am not much longer for this world, Sinatigus. I can feel it in my heart. To stand is to run now. I do like that line. Sits and utters a heavy breath. He offers Sinatigus the will for when the time comes. Boudica walks with Aeth. Caradoc Ambactus, he scacked the savant in the old draft. Is a war chief, yeah, body bar. Good form, gentlemen. You need not lie to them, Rigona. These fools need a mighty kick up the hind end. So I think this exchange, even this bit, the robot was saying it's a bit informal, but it's supposed to be informal. As in, just because it's informal in terms of action doesn't mean it's not true. Like, she is still a human. She can still have a bit of banter. She can still feel fondly about this Aeth. And sort of, even though she's a servant, almost treat her like a little sister in a way. Those young men are handsome. I'm certain one finds himself a bachelor. I've not the time for distractions, Rigona. And when I first beheld my husband, when he first took my hand, was the most fortunate woman in all of Albion. Time has not been kind to him of late, but I still see in him the mighty warrior he once was. Children arrive, settle down, children, run along now, I apologise. All is well, how fares your harvest? That is so sweet. How fares your harvest? The Romans have taken half of my seasonal crop, half of my seasonal grain. For the tax or tribute or whatever excuse they use, it is thieving is what it is. Typical Romans, should advise the husband. I changed the name from Henua to Taranisca, and then I was going to change her name to something else, but to be honest, no one can agree what the names are, so it honestly doesn't even matter. So long as it's period appropriate. You know, 1 minute the robot will be like, oh, these are the names, and then the robot will be like, oh no, they're the names probably. It's like, well, you need to make your mind up. Gonna capture you. Ooh, what have we here? A nice sumptuous mutton leg. Do well over a fire you would. What about farewell over a fire you would? Farewell's a bit. I know that I should be hunter, not even the gods could capture me, how could you? And then he collapses. Yeah, so originally I had bed, but they didn't have beds. Right, the dogs are going nuts. I'm just going to mute it. I'm going to have a drink and hope for the dogs shut up. Right, so they don't have beds in the traditional sense, so the robot was saying call it a sleeping place or something else. So it's probably like a bunch of animal furs, maybe like a bit of, I don't know, hay or something, and then you put animal furs on it, and then you put animal furs as your quilt, something like that. It's not like a bed in the traditional sense. And then so these houses, I think it's like one massive roundhouse. So I was thinking they don't really have like a bedroom, so to say. So I redid a lot of this bit where I just call it King Pursuticus's estate rather than like bedroom or master bedroom. Right, how fair he. His body is failing. I've given him the flower of Sirona. He's like a god. Fear his days are few. Bring me my wife. Right, so he calls them my treasures now, because that they might have called the kids like as an informal way. One day the responsibility of guiding our kingdom will fall to you. Your ailment will pass, the gods will, I prayed on this and me. I will not be here forever, even with all the blessings of the gods. It is important you understand how much I both love and cherish you. Be strong for your mother. I added that bit. Honour her as you have me. Your father must rest, girls. Come, it is time you took your meal. Remember who I was, not what I have become. There's no need to weep for me. Let me stay. I'm not far. Go now and eat. Your king commands it. So they leave. Boudica sits by Pursuticus' side and holds his hand to her lips. Right, I've given Emperor Nero the right to half our kingdom. Half of the girls, you shall be regent. Rome does not accept the will of queens, I fear greatly. What they will do to us in our absence. I've been assured they will. An attack on Rome. Wait, An attack on you will be an attack on Rome. They will protect you. Our people will fare well for this arrangement. Our line shall prosper for generations. The girls will have a say in the governance of our kingdom. I cannot let you enjoy the same fate as the Trinovantes. I'm gonna sneeze. Bloody hell. I like that line. My time is spent. They know he's gonna die. Be with me when death comes, of course. Right, so he's doing the agonal breathing. His final breath draws near. Right, she stumbled. Yeah, so she's just overwrought with grief. And then the whole tribe does a funeral ceremony. Yeah. Boudica walks behind Milano, seeing her and this girl. So blah de blah, we're doing the funeral. Burns his body. Empty sleeping place where Pursuitigus wants to lay. Boudica is alone, she claws at the furs. Wants toward the royal sleeping place, but stops when he hears Boudica crying. He respectfully leaves her to grieve. Cries under her furs. Why not see silent because of her? Right, I want mother. She has matters to attend. She will not be long. Your father held great awe for you both. Why did the gods not help him? I do not understand. Yeah, so he's kind of like, oh, how do I explain this? But then Boudica arrives, so he's like, oh, thank God. They run to Boudica. Please stay with us tonight. The war chiefs and the nobles meet with Boudica. Half will not satiate Roman lust. Regarding a Rome will not acknowledge the queen. True. I echoed the same concern. He said they have accepted the arrangement. So he was Tacra de Trovo last time. I've just made him a noble now. What if they cast us from the land like they did the Trinovantes? They have no reason to. The Iceni have been nothing but compliant. You are too anxious, gentlemen. Right, here we go. Togo Decorio is Hoglick the Headlopper. So, head lopping isn't an official term, which pains me because I like that term. And he's like, Senaticus, I cannot hear you given the iron cock in your mouth. I put that into the robot and I said, is this period appropriate? And to be fair, it said, whilst it's obviously a vulgar insult, it's technically allowed. And he would say that. Do not question my loyalty to this kingdom, De Curio. So just nonsense name. I am Iceni born and bred. Gentlemen, please. Nonsense name. Forgive me, Rigona. I shall go to Londinium and seek an audience with the procurator to ensure this proposal favours us. Right, so they're meeting Catus de Cianus now. Come bearing grave news. Oh, I can't start yawning. Rig Pursuitigus has passed away. We are accompanied by his final will and testament. He has offered half of the Iceni kingdom to Nero. The other shall go to his heirs. Boudica shall serve as regent until the eldest daughter is of age. See, with this, I don't know if they would have officially met like this. They might have just used delegators like him. So, although it's not historical truth, I think it's okay for the purpose of the movie in my head. Right, do give my condolences, he's lying. I shall study the proposal and send the party in due course. Inform him I am capable of leading in my husband's stead. The women of Rome may not have the strength or wit to govern, but here in Albion we do. I will not be disregarded on important matters. It is vital they know. Right, he looks at Synatagus to translate. We understand Rome's customs forbid women to hold power, but here in Britannia, queens are equally capable rulers. Boudica is often involved in the king's council. She expresses her confidence in governing the kingdom. She foresees a prosperous union between the Iceni and Rome. So they're being dicks in the back. I too foresee a great future, and I do not doubt her abilities for a moment. Again, I shall need some time to study the proposals. I wish you both a safe journey home. So they leave. He rips the will, throws it on the table. Whatever they propose is not acceptable to me or the Emperor. Who does this woman think she is? The barbarians have become too brazen of late. We could make an example of her. What is their military capability? 2 centuries in cavalry will subdue any resistance we may encounter. The men will not die for a woman. Recall Seneca's loans. When they inevitably fail to repay them, seize the kingdom. The Emperor shall have his riches. For some reason, the film that got released, and then I also found a screenplay on Script Revolution that's actually doing really well on the platform. For some reason, they both have Nero in it, but I don't see the point in having Nero in it, because he's nothing to do with this really, apart from the only thing Nero probably said is, "Oh, I want more money," but it's like he doesn't need to be involved to convey that. He's in Rome. He's just doing all sorts of. I mean, the stuff he got up to, he's a wrong un, put it that way. So he's just doing wrong un behaviour in Rome. He's not really knowing what's going down here. And to be honest, these guys are probably going to want a. It's like, yeah, we'll be dicks, but yeah, the Emperor will get what he wants, but we can also earn a bit of coin ourselves here. So Boudica's back home. Boudica removes the vehicle and was at a sleeping place. Right, so Aeth tries to settle the girls. Yeah, so I noticed in the last draft they said mummy sometimes, and that's classified as modern. So I've removed all that and it's just mother now. I will lie with you from this night on, would you have it so? Yes. Shall leave you be, Rigona. Honestly, run out of the estate. Boudica follows. Beware, girls, lest you meet the earth. Meaning fall. I hope that comes out right. What about lest you kiss the earth? I don't know. Meet's a more proper term. So she's at the burial mound. Can you play hunter with us? Tyrannus go hold a rag. The day is young, day and I have important matters to attend. Father would play with us. Our lives will change, hence I must care for the kingdom now. I do not have time for play, and neither do you. A few years from now you will be queen. Stand with it, come child. The world is darker without father. His light remains in our hearts, we must nurture his flame. Tonight I shall braid above your hair and you shall braid mine. Whatever mum-daughter stuff. Right, so Dick arrives now. By order of the Procurator Catus Decianus, you are to repay your debt in full of 40 million with interest. What does the Roman say? I don't know. I would fare better lecturing dogs. Default will result in forfeit of your land and property. Synatagus arrives. May I assist, gentlemen? I can speak Latin. Tell Boudica she is to pay in full your debt to Rome. 50 million, including the 10 million interest. I am kind of making that up, although it is a real thing, we just don't know the numbers. Our terms promise decades to repay Lianus. Is this how Rome honours its word? The agreement has changed. Right, Rig Pursuitus offered half of Iceni lands to Rome in his will. This must certainly cover any debt the Procurator seeks. Myself and the Queen addressed him You bore witness, he did not speak of this. Myself and Boudica. Myself and Boudica addressed him. You bore witness, he did not speak to this. The will is a gift, the debt is not. We return tomorrow. So she's just pacing with fury now. They choose now of all times to demand their debt and in full, and certainly can be reasoned with. There is no reasoning with this man. He has made Rome's desire clear today. He's made Rome's desire known today, just as I feared. Even if we could repay them, do you truly think it would be enough to quench their thirst? The Roman vanguard will not stop until every blade of grass in Albion is crushed beneath their boot. As the cow they milk our bodies for all we can give. We are free in name alone. They will come tomorrow with more men. So I've made a change here. I removed the scene with the Takra the Trover guy. And then they're bringing these log containers that contain valuables now. So they put these containers just on the ground, like waiting for the Romans. So he arrives again. 200 Roman legionaries, the Hispano cavalry. The poor cart. Boudica and Sennatus await. I seen him men come forth, ready to defend the queen. This gentleman is what these barbarians call a queen. There is nothing womanly about this wild beast. She knows the chatting shit. Have you the debt? And then he watches more men exit their homes ready to fight. So Sennatus lifts the lid from a hollow log container. We can offer gold, crop and coins. We have mustered all we can spare on this day. Perhaps 10 million in value. Let us negotiate terms. 10 million, do you think me a fool, Sennatus? And then ... heavy pause. Take anything of value, torch the rest, kill any who resist. I'll whiz through the abuse bit. So what is happening? Right, so she's hiding the girls inside the estate. Right, the Romans are just ransacking people. Boudica, you shall answer to the gods and the fury of the wronged. Bind her. Have you not the courage to meet my eye, Roman? 2 Roman legionaries hold a beaten Sennatus before Leadas. We have upheld our oath. I thought the procurator an honourable man. She will guide us to her estate. I imagine the queen with the plentiful riches. Right, so 8th is hiding the girls again. Bind her to a post and flog her. I want them all to behold the power of Rome. She has 2 daughters, find them. But everything until they are found, do not come out under any circumstance. And then I've changed their dialogue a bit. Where do you flee in such haste, barbarian? She steps back, he comes closer, looking her up and down. Abe goes to leave, he blocks the path, touches her face and hair. I see not a wild beast. They're obviously there hiding. She goes to leave, he snatches her wrist, unhand me. And then she goes to slap him, but he catches her. And yet you behave as one, so you shall be treated as one. And then he's abusing her. Right, so cavalrymen tie Boudica to a... Well, actually, it'd just be the Roman legionaries, wouldn't it? I think originally, yeah, I don't know why it's just the cavalrymen. The cavalrymen might have gone inside, they might have rode their horses up to the estate and then went in. So plunder a helpless widow, such mighty men you are. And then he gives her a slap. Right, they rip her dress, flog her mercilessly. You are ghastly to my eyes, woman. It shall take more than that to break my spirit. And then they find the girls. There we are, release them. He says a wild one this time. Assume any punishment. Right, let's see that. Right, yeah. So Right, yeah, so I'll just sort of like whiz through this bit. So the abuse happens, and then she glares at him, Rome, death in line, and then he knocks her unconscious. I'm just gonna have a drink. Yeah, the main reason I'm whizzing through it, I've only got 2 to 2.5 hours maximum to do this. And I've been through it a good few times in the last like week or so. There shouldn't be too many errors, although I should probably go through it with the software just to make sure. Right. So they wake Boudica up. She leans her head into her daughter's. They cuddle her, they hurt me. I know they will not harm you again. I shall make certain of this. Right, she's with the war chiefs and Senagus. I could ride to Londinium and try to reason with them. What's that noise? Is it that? They murdered our kin, sacked our wealth, soured my daughters. We are beyond reason now. Exactly as they were going to put, the only response we have is war. We alone do not have the strength to defeat Rome. They will not stop here. We stand and fight or die. In a war against Rome we will die. And then Togo sees his ass with Senagus. But Caradoc intervenes. Then I would rather die fighting. What if I address a court of the tribes? Should we make an army of Albion, perhaps then we could rid this Roman scourge as Arminius in Germania. So that's the Barbarians TV show. Rome would quell any single tribe, but a united Albion, victory is feasible, and they will not expect it. They will have your support. Whatever you decide, know that I will both support and rally you to death or glory. Then it is done, send word to the tribes. I've changed this now, it's a sacred grove clearing. Right, so they're all just hanging about. So Antedius... 1 minute, I think I've misspelled that, you know. Antedios, is it Antedios? 1 minute. This guy is Gomus Budax. Right, Antedios. Antedios. Antedios Caturix. A man with a towering frame. And then Epanos is Mog Flame of War. But he's not as involved in this one. What word from the elders? Right, so Volisaurus, he was Adidomarus in the last one. This guy has had 4 different names. Caractacus, Tegodamus, Adidomarus, and now he's Volisaurus. It's... No one can agree on this guy's name. Well, they don't even know if they had like a king per se anymore. Anyway, Volisaurus has pledged to join the cause, but the others remain undecided. I changed this to sort of, they have come with doubt, they shall leave with conviction. She takes the centre. Hear me now, chiefs of the tribes. like, this is all very much what she said in real life. I mean, translated, and it is fabricated, as in the English version of what the historians said that she said. You have all learned by now the difference between freedom and slavery. We have all been deceived by the alluring promise of Rome. Since they set foot in our great nation, they have robbed us almost entirely of our possessions. For even in death, we are indebted to them. How much better it would be to have been sold to masters than to possess such empty titles of freedom. To have to ransom ourselves every year. And then Boudica is like, no more, I say. Yeah, he's obviously, the headloppers all for the war. But to speak the plain truth, it is we who have made ourselves responsible for these evils, in that we allowed them to set foot on this island in the first place, instead of expelling them as we did their famous Julius Caesar. So this guy actually got his ass kicked when he turned up. Everyone bums off him. But yeah, he got his ass kicked and he got sent home. Let us, my countrymen and kinsmen, for I consider you all my kinsmen, seeing that we inhabit a single island, share the same name, let us set aside our grievances as the Germanic tribes before us. Let us, I say, do our duty while we still remember what freedom is, that we may leave to our children not only its nonsense word, but also its reality. Let us therefore go against them. Let us show them that they are hares and foxes trying to rule over dogs and wolves. Fear them not, for they are not superior to us in numbers or bravery. Now is the time to reclaim our sacred earth. Right, so I've replaced the word homeland with sacred earth because it's more appropriate. So yeah, some of them support it, some are silent, some shrink at the thought of war. So Volicius of the nonsense name tribe, he looks at Volisaurus, who obviously is supporting, and one of his war chiefs speaks in his ears. Oh, the dogs. So I'm just gonna mute it. You probably still hear them. So, and this is again what she said. She basically called Nero a woman. This mistress, Domitia Nero. So I think his real name is Domitius Nero, but Domitia is like a female version of his name. She'll reign no longer over me or you. Let the wench sing and lord over her Romans, for they deserve to be slaves of such a woman, after having submitted to her for so long. But for us, mistress, be you alone ever our leader. So that I've copy pasted that whole thing from like the sources. The Trinovantes stand with you, Boudica. The Romans raised the city on the corpses of my people. They raised monuments to mock us. Whilst you all suckle Roman teats, my people are slaughtered, cast from their homes and forced to exist like beasts. This Roman plague has infested our island for far too long. My heart weeps for you both, but Rome cannot be defeated. I saw 10 of my best fall to 1 man in iron. We would need an army 1,000,000 brave. A united Albion could field such an army. My heart is with you, but my people will not march. And then they're on about Catimandura. We're going with the Brigantes. The Romans have been good to us. You shall all meet my same fate. My husband too had great relations with the Romans, and yet they have so easily disregarded it. Think of your daughters, would they not do unto them what they have done to mine? And this guy chips in, the Roman army is pillaging Mona as we speak. Their cities are vulnerable. There is no greater moment than now to strike. We have the numbers and the might if we stand together. The Germans defeated them, so give me reason why we cannot. Germans are overpowered. They're my mortal enemy, Germans. But they're hard. They are so hard. But the thing is as well, Germans are very similar to us in terms of like, they're like white European, aren't they, as a nation? And like these tribes, like these, like the Germans were Celtic tribes as well, in essence. So it's like we're all stemmed from the same history. I'm trying to think who it was before the Celts. Was it like the Saxons maybe or something like that? But basically we have like the same ancestry as the Germans. But they're like our mortal enemy. I've said it before, if World War III kicks off, Germany is going to see its arse in a big way. It's just going to kick off with everyone. I'm telling you that now. It's a reformed gangster. When shit hits the fan, Germany is going to do the business. You know, hopefully we're on their team this time, but I can't be on the same team as Germans. Even if we were victorious, Rome will no doubt retaliate, and it is my kingdom they shall strike first, and with full ferocity. My people have not the courage or ability to wage a war with Rome. I am blind and deaf to this gathering, but I cannot take any part in the campaign, yet I pray for your swift victory. May we meet again in an Albion unchained. So I've made changes to that. Change this bit slightly as well. Has all courage fled Albion? Will you not fight for our sacred earth? If not for the spirit of our fathers, for the children, your children. Guilty silence, he leaves. Moments later, they're all starting to leave. Boudica pleads with Cat in Mantua. Rome does not accept the will of queens, they have accepted mine. My condolences, Boudica, but I cannot, not after last time. Yeah, she's dodgier. She basically betrayed the Celts when Claudius arrived. She goes away. Then you choose chains over freedom again. She looks back, but then carries on. Right, Boudica. This guy is Ogbor the Defiant. Right, so, nonsense name. His king may cling to Rome, but he does not speak for all of the Catuvillani. Let's turn that down slightly. I have a few thousand willing to fight, good men. There will be thousands more across Albion. I shall travel far and wide to gather them until we next meet. And then he leaves. Boudica arrives to Velisaris. Bravery may elude the others. Let them live in slavery if they wish. I do like that. The gods are with us, Velisaris. Ready your warriors for summer. Fill their stomach for we march on Camulodunum. Right, we're packing up for the fight. On the great chariot for the journey ahead. Aeth arrives with the girls. Let us join you, mother. You will not know the warmth of home. We want to be with you when we defeat them. I do not want you both to behold the horrors of war. They will not see the fight. They will not see the fight, Rigona. I shall make sure of it by your side, and God's willing, they will be safest, lest the Romans come while you are away. Right, she's at the burial mound now. I cannot undo what has been done to our girls. I pray you think well of me despite. Give me strength for this war. I cannot do this alone. Be with me. Right, so we're leaving the kingdom now. You know, everyone's pretty happy. Happy and hopeful. That soon changes. Right, we're trekking across the countryside. Right, they arrive at the Trinovantes. Let us acquaint for the night. helps her out. Thank you. Right, drink up. Right, drink, men, for tomorrow we feast on Roman flesh. I don't know if that's a bit much. Drink, men, for tomorrow we feast on Rome's ruin. Cheers all around. So people are eating and drinking. Several war chiefs and nobles eat and drink. Cyrus is with Boudica. Again, this isn't historically true, but I would assume something like this is plausible. I was wondering if a more official union of our tribes would interest you after the war. After our victory. Wait, I was wondering if a more official union of our tribes would interest you after we are victorious. What is your proposal for my hand is forever taken? When your elder daughter is of age. Does he say eldest, maybe? When your eldest daughter is of age, would you give your blessing for her to wed my son? It would depend on the manner of your son. He is a young man of kind heart and courage. He is his father's son. And then I've called that kid Togodamus. Togodamus. Oh, is that right? He comes over. I would like to meet Boudica, Rigona of the Icena, and your future mother-in-law if your father has his way. It is a great honour to meet you, Rigona. Bless your rosy cheeks. I must retire for the evening, but I shall think well on this proposal. I'm not sure. So Buddha's just cuddling the sleeping daughter as Afe sleeps nearby. She stands, we can see her back, scars mar her back after the Roman whippings, so she dresses herself. We don't see any titties are out. I don't want nudity in this, but it's just we see her back. And then she leaves without waking the others. So we're in the garden now, so we're looking over the kingdom. Obviously, men are chatting shit, bigging themselves up for the fight. Plenty of drinking and socialising. Boudica approaches Cyrus. You should rest and gather your strength, as should you. I never sleep well in either battle. Do you have faith in our victory? Our ancestors once repelled them. I see no reason why we cannot, especially with the numbers we have. Never has Albion fielded such an army. Never has the world fielded such an army. I think it might, I'm not too sure, it could be the biggest army ever assembled up to that point in terms of pure numbers. So she drinks and then looks over the kingdom. My heart warms to see our tribes come together. If only all of Albion could do so, how much easier this fight would be. Our tribes shall soon be forced as one in blood. So they're getting ready to leave. Right, and he meets his son. I can fight, father. I do not fear the Romans. No, you are a fox amongst wolves. Bravery will not save you on the battlefield. That is the folly of all young men. You are not ready to know the terror of war. When you were my age, you fought by your father's side. Listen well now. You are more to me than a royal heir. Do I just put king? I did have king originally, but they use Rig and Rigona, but did the Romans use the term king and queen? So did no. I'm not too sure. It's one word, it can always be changed. But it does work better. You are more to me than a king's heir. I cannot lose the last of your mother, do you understand? I really like that line. You are more to me than a king's heir. I cannot lose the last of your mother. Right, so he leaves, he looks back at his son before joining others in the march. You know, Trygodamus ruminates, he will not listen to his father's plea. Right, so it's like we're near the Trinovantes kingdom, but it's like countryside as well. So the Celts leave and march for Camulodunum. Boudica leads in a chariot, Belisarius on the horse beside her. So we're just in the countryside here. Countryside hill. A Roman family hikes the land. Julius runs. I've messed up there, haven't I? Julius runs to the peak of the hill and looks over the land. Dozens of Roman civilians trudge up the hill. A horde of 150,000 Celts in the far distance. Farther look. Lucius arrives, his face drops at the sight. I could actually maybe... Because that screenplay I mentioned on Script Revolution, I had a read of most of it yesterday. I do disagree with how they interpreted the story in many ways, but something that they had in theirs that I don't have in mine, which I think they are right about, is it's the in-between. So it's not like they're just like they're going through the country, but there are settlements along the way, not cities, but it could be like almost like mini villages, and they would have ransacked them, and then people would have escaped them. They would have fled to Colchester, and then they'd be like, right, shit's going down. And then people would have then gone on to Londinium to tell the procurator. I don't know whether to add that. These guys are going to tell the procurator in a minute. That Lucius guy. But I don't know whether to add more violence in between. I mean, what page count are we on? 114. I mean, it's not... It's something I'll keep in mind. I won't be doing it now, because I've only got less than 2 hours to get through this. Before I need to go to work. Again, this is just a quick whiz through. This isn't... I've done heavy line edits over the last week. So basically, these civilians are escaping these mini villages. But I do think this works for the purpose of the film. I want it to be quick, so it's like, oh my god, like, look, and then we see the procurator straight away then. I saw with my own eyes the scale of this barbarian foe. We need that army procurator, we need it now. I think I've changed this scene as well. So it's a delegation of Roman civilians. It wasn't like it was just one guy. But I'm doing it where he's the main guy, but there is like a dozen people there, like begging for help. The governor is occupied in Mona. He will not arrive in time to guard the city, nor will he see a rabble of barbarians worthy of his time. He doesn't believe that the barbarians have as many as they do. Panic gas, Lucius withholds rage. I shall dispatch 200 men to reinforce Camulodunum. Sufficient, I trust, to put a swift end to this disturbance. That's true. 200 will be a futile gesture. We must evacuate the city, I beg you. Let us not react with haste. I am quite certain our 200 will contain this mob. How many veterans like yourself are fit to bear arms in Camulodunum, should it come to it? With all due respect, Procurator, you have not witnessed what we have. This mob numbers in the tens of thousands. I understand your concern, I do, but tens of thousands, impossible. A century of veterans will subdue these barbarians, much less a cohort. A cohort is, I think it's like 480 Romans. So Leanus kicks the delegation out, closes the door, we're outside. What are we to do, Father? We ride for Lindum. So that's where Cerealis is based. And then back inside the office. So Catus wears an expression of growing concern. Because he does, even though he's dismissing it, you know, part of him's like, maybe shit is happening. Leanus approaches and he's like, Boudica no doubt is involved in this. And he's like, oh shit, because he was part of the abuse. She will want our heads. I'm quite certain of that. And then Leanna says, Cerealis. Catus kind of dismisses it as like, our men shall quell her. And if they do not, and then we do the heavy pause. And he sort of gives in, he's like, right, just notify him. Leanna bows his head and leaves. Yeah, so the Celts are just doing Celt stuff. They're just talking shit and drinking and enjoying themselves and resting. Boudica styles Taranisca's hair. Why do you not rest in your sleeping place anymore? I see my sleeping place. I see your father's cold dead face. I cannot bear it. I do not think about him every day anymore. Am I a bad daughter? No. When we and Lanos die, there will not be anyone alive who remembers him. Such is life, dear. We are all forgotten in time. Augustine, a tempest. And then Lanos is like, Mum, I can't. Well, Mother, I can't sleep. I told you this would happen. It is too loud and it smells like a goat pen here. So there's some young warriors nearby. And then the headlopper, I had to change his dialogue. Save your steel for the Romans, boys. There should be plenty of fighting in the morn. The young men grow restless for the coming fight, try to ignore it. Sinatigus leads Velisaris to Boudica. It is time to rest, girls. I shall be with you soon. My scouts put 200 Romans in the city. The Procurator has grossly underestimated us. What of their legion at Lindum? As of now, Cerealis will not interfere. Then Camulodunum shall be ours for the taking. Right, I've redone this bit. So, in the old draft on the last video, they basically split into two forces. So Boudica went to Colchester and Velisaris ambushed Cerealis. But from what I can gather online, they ransacked Colchester and then kicked Cerealis' ass. So I've changed it to where they're all staying together and going to take over Colchester, and then they go and ambush Cerealis and then march on to Londinium. Hopefully it works a bit better. And I've changed this so slightly as well, because originally it was like, oh, they just go about the day, but they wouldn't be going about the day. They know shit's about to happen. So these guys, for whatever reason, can't escape or refuse to escape. But they're just scattering the streets now because they know what's coming. The ground quakes ever so slightly. That's a bit of a trying to be a bit prayer. Faint sound of a Celtic army whisks with the wind. Roman legionaries make way for the temple of Claudius. They also guide civilians. I've changed this a bit. Some civilians are going to hide inside the temple with them. Right, so the Celts are bearing down on Camulodunum now. Boudica rides her chariot to Velisaris, who leads his Trinovantes. So rather than it being Mog Flame of War, it's going to be Velisaris at the front. May I, Volisaurus, certainly. Hear me, Trinovantes, it is my great honour to march with you all on this beautiful day, a historic day. Songs shall be sung, stories shall be written. Deianira will tremble in her iron throne. They obviously scream support. Today is the day you take back your sacred earth. Seize this moment, men. Give them the same mercy they gave you when they cast you from your homes and slaughtered your kin. You are not alone. Iceni, Trinovantes, all Britons rise as one today. There is no army in the world that could stand against our fury. Hear the cries of our ancestors, for they march along with us, all who perished to a Roman sword. Go now, by Andraste. Go now and reclaim what is yours. And then they storm Camulodunum. Right, so the Centurions lead the legionaries and panicked civilians to the temple of Claudius. They pack the entrance. Civilians flee the area. Hundreds of Celts loot indiscriminately. An elderly woman pleads for her life. A Celt slashes. Dozens of retired Roman legionaries fight with the Celts in the streets. Volisaurus leads in the thick of the fighting. Boudica looks at the city as the fire spread. The harrowing cries of civilians chanting Celts, they continue to crowd the city. She's not proud of the wanton slaughter. 200 legionaries at the temple of Claudius wait. Volisaurus notices them. He battle cries, "His Trinovantes, follow him." Celts continue to slaughter everyone in sight, man, woman, child, they spare none. Right, so legionaries at temples calling his favour, battle cries trying to find this with him. As Volisaurus arrives with hundreds of Celts, mainly Trinovantes. The Romans remain in place. Celts hurl stones at Roman shields, and then the headlopper throws a Roman man's head. It hits a Roman shield and lands on the ground, and he calls him a wild beast. More Celtic warriors funnel into the area. Volisaurus emphatically taunts the Romans at the front. So Boudica enters the city now. Homes smoulder. Roman corpses on the street. Women and children are among the dead. Lanos sneakily peeks through her hands. Boudica covers Lanos' face. Do not look. And then the Celts are just attacking the legionaries at the temple now. With every thrust of a Roman sword, bodies drop. Not a single Roman casualty. Experienced weaponry and tactics are no match for the untrained Celts. Feet tread on the dead, bodies stack. Celtic warriors pull back the dead and wounded. See this is just in my head. If there's that many dead bodies piling up, surely it's going to get in the way of the fighting. Logistically. You know, if you're... It's one thing to, like, jump on bodies, but if there's, like, 2 or 3 bodies on top of each other, how the hell are you going to stand on top of them and whilst fighting? It's just not going to happen. So in my head, whether this is a thing in the fighting, I don't know, but in my head I kind of like, right, when it gets a bit like there's just too many dead people in a way, why don't you just let the enemy just take the dead people away and then you carry on fighting? Thousands pack this tight space as more Celtic warriors join the main group. It's a bottleneck, the Romans are trapped. Smoke heads across the city. Torture cries of civilians. Yeah, it's just carnage. This is just more... I'm hopefully writing it in a way that it gets the point across, but this is just... If this got made, I've just got to trust that the people who are doing the action can do this well. Guides Lanos Tyrannus getting eighth toward an untouched Roman government building. A man on fire runs by. Celtic warriors, a man's head impaled in his weapon. They step in guts. Boudica guides them into the building. Yeah, it's just horrible. Rest here for now. Right, so it's just intense fighting. It's just Back at the temple again, the Romans are unbreakable. Only a couple of Romans dead, but more than 100 Celts have fallen. Celts try to find an angle. There's only one way in and out of the temple. The Romans are an impenetrable wall. And then Caradoc finds Boudica. We have the Romans trapped at their temple, but we cannot breach it. Then we wait, let them first. And then it's night. Celts are enjoying, well, they're feasting on the wine and the meat. The Romans remain on guard, weapons ready, and many tired, but adrenaline flows. Yeah, because they wouldn't really be able to sleep, would they? They'd be doing an all-nighter. They've got no water, and they've got to do an all-nighter. And they've got to fight at the same time. Right, so this is Khan the Cruel. I've just made him just Trinovanta's warrior now. He throws his wineskin. Boudica picks this one up later on. Enough, let us get to this fight. Set up, right, here we go. So he's Belinus the Bard now, rather than... I've got to change it, haven't I, because I just realised. Yeah, so I've had to change his songs. Settle down, I shall give you a song. Face the Romans alone, and you must be a... You can't say monk, can you? The Trinovanta's warrior tries to snatch Belinus the Bard's instrument weapon. Unhand me. And then Volisaurus, rather than Mog Flame of War. He grips the Trinovanta's warrior. Rest well, brother, feast, drink, you shall get your fill in the morn. Yeah, so civilians and Roman legionaries pack the temple. Centurion Magnus attempts to drink from an empty canteen. He throws it. By their steel or by thirst, we die within a day. Then let us drag as many of these barbarians to Hades with us. And he's like, provoke them at dawn. If they stand firm, we test their ranks. Once blood is drawn, they will not stop. And we fight to the last. This was supposed to be a quiet retreat from the rabble of Rome. I intended to take an early retirement at year's end. Travel the world. Fate has other plans for us, my friend. Can't stop yawning. And he's like, Legionaries look to Titus. Death comes tomorrow. I ask only this, give your all. Not for Rome or glory, but for the man beside you. Each one of these barbarians you slay tomorrow is one less for the army to contend with. Ensure you fall on a sword, lest they capture you and gut you alive. Right, so Celts handled the bodies of their dead. Parents grieve children, sons the loss of fathers. Boudica watches with a heavy heart. She marches toward the temple of Claudius, making her way through the rowdy Celts, and Volisaurus sees her, shouts her. She glares at the Romans. Now you know my vengeance. Volisaurus pulls Boudica back. Eat shit, Barbarous. In fact, I'll just do Barbarian. So with this, I thought, oh, is that too modern? But apparently, like, literally speaking, they had it. This was a common insult in Roman era. They would say, eat excrement and die. But that's a bit sort of... So maybe in Latin, they would say that. But, I don't know, I'll just keep it as eat shit for now. Because it is the same thing. Just eat excrement and die. Say that in Latin. Please beware. All is well. And then Boudica grabs a half-drank wineskin off the floor. She pours it on the ground in front of the parched Romans, then throws it at them. A Roman legionary snatches the wineskin and ekes out what few drops remain. Admittedly, this isn't necessarily in the history, but this is what I would assume, because there's no water in the temple, and conveniently, the Romans lasted 2 days at the temple, which is also conveniently 2 days is the amount of time it takes to die of thirst, isn't it? So it makes sense. If they had no water for 2 days, you're just not going to be able to fight, are you? Right, here we go. So Cerealis now, he knows that shit's about to go down. So he's not at Lindum now. He's just in a camp. It's like in the countryside. So legionaries are just talking. They play tabula. And then Tribunus Marcellus notices something. He looks on in the distance, horrified. And then Cerealis is in his tent. So yeah, I've changed it. The Catus doesn't go to Cerealis now, and Cerealis doesn't go to Catus later on. Those scenes are removed, so he's already been told that shit's about to go down. He just goes straight to Mona when they get defeated. Sorry to disturb you, Legatus, but you need to see this. He can see the destruction of Camulodunum. Fires light the night sky. We march onward at dawn without pause. So these guys might be like, if I had to guess, maybe like 20 miles away or something. I don't know. But it's like you can see the fires that have already been set. And then at the same time, I think it might have been possible to see, you know, like the smoke in the atmosphere. Catus Decianus sees the same destruction of Camulodunum in the distance. He turns to Leanus. We depart for Gaul at dawn. I can always change it if it's not possible. Right, so the Celts prepare for the fight. The legionaries remain on guard, many tired and parched. Titus reaches the front, be ready. Boudica lies next to the daughters. Caro enters, Rigona, the fight has commenced. Yeah, so it's just, yeah, madness. I want to kind of, in the intense fighting, I want to try and skip through it because I have edited it all, so there shouldn't be too many errors in it, but I've only got like an hour and a bit before I need to go, and I don't want to do like a 3-hour video and then like a 30-minute video. I'd rather just sort of whiz through it. Celts drop no Roman casualties. Right, so one Roman legionary dies. One Roman down. Celts drop red doesn't. Another Roman casualty. Celts at the rear hailstones. As the battle progresses, a few more Romans perish, but several Celts die for each Roman casualty. I've made sure to capitalise that. Feet trampled at dead without regard. Boudica observes from a safe distance. Battle continues. Close to 150 Romans dead by now. The Romans start to retreat into the temple. Celts climb over body, continuing the retreat. Cries of dying legionaries outside. The last of the legionaries retreat into the temple. Yeah, it quickly fills with bodies. 50 legionaries left. Celts enter in droves. By now, tactics are out the window. It's a free-for-all. Right, the headlopper traps Magnus. They kill him. Celt strangles a Roman. Legionary stabs him under the jaw. See, a lot of this action I think will be pretty good if it's done right. A young Roman legionary hides. Celts slaughter the civilians that are there. He huddles with a finger, right, he's killing Celts, yep. Antedius, Gomus Bloodaxe, he comes in, kicks ass. They're fighting. Headlopper stabs him. 10 left. Last of the civilians perish. He has a bit of a moment. That legionary, drop your shield and face us. The governor shall hang each and every one of you illiterate barbarians. You shall feed the crows until winter. They kill him. one Roman legionary left. He has an epic sort of moment. The Romans are defeated except for the young one who's hiding. Headlopper finds him, and then he shouts to Volosaurus this time. So Headlopper and Bloodaxe, they're throwing the heads of the Centurions down the steps. And then Volosaurus is going to do the speech that Gomos Bloodaxe did. So everyone's buzzing with the victory. We have fought and suffered greatly, yet here we stand victorious. More battles lie ahead, more cities to reclaim. But for now, Camulodunum belongs to you. Camulodunum belongs to Albion. And then Caradoc goes to Boudica, victory is ours. Right, what I'm going to do, because I need a drink, and I could do with a moment, because I keep yawning. Because it is very tiring for me, the speaking. Oh man, right. What am I doing? Let me just have a quick look at GameStop as well. Doing shit though. Oh man. To be honest, there's no point me even looking because we're gonna be doing shit again. It's just shit. It's shit because they're being dicks with us when it makes no sense. Well, no, it does make sense. We know why they're dicks with us. Oh man, the one time I earned no money. I've got no spare money to buy. If I had money, it'd all be going into this. That is so cheap. You're basically buying... We have 9 billion in cash, yet we have a 9 billion market cap. That is ridiculous. You're almost buying cash for cash. Except the cash in GameStop is going to be used to buy eBay. Makes no sense. But my stupid ass went into my overdraft. It's not even like buying it up there because it was in the overnight. My stupid ass went in my overdraft because I thought we were about to moon. And it was like bought there. Well, no, it was technically there. And then ding, 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 ding. Yeah. So I'm sat here in my overdraft, earning no money, and then the money that I did put in is down significantly. So do I just take that L, or do I hold out when I know that we're going to be worth well more in the future? So annoying. In hindsight, it was obvious they were going to be dicks with us, but it is what it is. Right, what am I doing now? I think I'm gonna go and have a drink. Probably be 5 to 10 minutes. I'll try and whiz through the second half. Back soon. back. Oh, wow. It says it's been an hour and a half. I've got about... I'd say I've got like an hour and a half max. Really. Hour and 45 if I really push it. Right, so Boudica walks through the crowd. There's a lot of dead Celts. She consoles some of the veteran soldiers. Like one of them's, his son's dead. Young boy parades with a Roman helmet. The legionary was still alive. He's on a cross. So they crucified him. And then children just hit him with swords. That is so bad. Boudica throws to sleep. She closes herself and leaves. So she just looks over the devastation. Fires burn. Skewered Romans. Bodies hang. She subtly cries. I've changed this to where it's Caradoc rather than Synatagus. Because I thought... I don't know, I feel like it suits better. Right, so he arrives. She composes herself. I thought, although I may possess the body of a woman, that deep inside my breast beats a prince's heart and a prince of Albion too. It's very similar to... Even the robot picked up on that. To Queen Elizabeth. And also Bloody Mary. Yet rest eludes me and I find myself weeping even for my enemies, although my pity lacks reason. Romans on the battlefield is what was promised. I rode steadfast in the face of fear, but I might not have come had I known the toll of love and compassion. The sight of such potent death can break even the most seasoned warrior Ragona. Every fallen Briton burdens my heart. It is only natural to feel this way. Do men weep even on the night of victory? They do. If they possess a soul, they do. I fear I shall never know fairness hence. Try to rest, Ragona, if not your heart, let your body. I think there's some good lines in there. Right, here we go. So, I've changed it to Ermine Street. So, I had it Lower Watling Street, but the robot was saying that it probably wasn't Watling Street that Cerealis was on. It's like one source says, oh, it probably was, and then others was like, no, it's probably this. I'm trying to think because he would have been coming from the north, east, south. He would have been coming from like the northwest, whereas Watling Street's more cut straight across. So he's on Ermine Street now. He's marching on Ermine Street. And then Boudica, we're back. We're outside the Temple of Claudius. Boudica's like, burn it down. They burn it down. Volosaurus arrives. It is far kinder on the eye now. You should raise a monument of equal mockery, or I shall. The Hispana will be on the march. I suspect they shall arrive within a day. Then we should prepare. And then Caradoc chirps up, or we meet them first. And then bang, we go straight into that fight now. So the Hispana are marching. Woodland surrounds the road on both sides. In the forestry, Celtic warriors lurk. They watch the Romans approach, ready to pounce. Boudica hides in the trees with Caradoc and Volosaurus. On your call. Everyone awaits her signal. Boudica blows on on a nonsense horn. The Romans look to the sound, and Cerealis glares at Boudica. but she doesn't charge with the other warriors, and then thousands of Celtic warriors flood in from both sides of the road and attack from all sides. Draw your swords. That's apparently a real command. Because I had to look at like the commands as well. Right, so it's just pure carnage, pure fighting, and then that Kieran the betrayer, he finds that Marcellus guy and batters him. Thieving little barbarians from their families and expecting them not to betray you is so foolish. Getting killed by one, shameful tribunus. Right, Belinus the Bard turns up. Belinus the Bard. Right, rest in earth, man of Rome. No ship shall bear you back to your home. I don't think it's as good as the Ready and the Deady one, but it's more the Ready and the Deady one isn't going to happen. It's too similar to the game for a start, and it doesn't fit the period, whereas this is more period-ish. And then, right, we see that absolute unit of a Roman. I made him a bit smaller. He's like 6'7" now. So the unit is just doing unit things. Belinus the Bard and Justus lock eyes. Best not to wake the sleeping storm. Let the Hulk rage. My song lives on. So Hulk, I was thinking, is Hulk a modern term? But the robot was saying that. The robot basically reworded my lyrics and gave me something like this. He's a unit, him, that Justus. Right, so Cerealis leaves. Cavalry to me. I think that's a real command. So him and the cavalry go away. And then Boudica watches with glee. She and Cerealis share a hook. Depending on how it goes, I don't know. He already seen her earlier on. And then we do the later thing. Fighting continues, dead bodies. Most of the Roman legion is dead. Blah de blah. He taunts him. I could have taken him. I cannot have you dying at the first true fight, Rig. Blah de blah de blah. Fighting. Cowardly man of iron. You get stabbed in the back, you fool. Thousands dead, many injured. Celts out their own. Belisarius treads across the battlefield. Right, and he finds Togodamus in the mud. Cuddles Togodamus' lifeless body. So this is the same. Obviously, he's like grieving his son. Just like a horrible sort of wail. You know, nearby Trinovantes come to the king. And then even a random Roman legionary notices it and sort of bows his head respectfully. I like that. Right, so later on, Boudica embraces Caradoc, and then she notices Belisarius nearby. Belisarius carries Togodamus' body, and Tedius is with him. Boudica approaches, her joy melts. Belisarius. And he says, I really like this line. The folly of sons who slight their father's plea. Now I must bury all that is dear to me in this world. And then Boudica tries to comfort him. Your sacrifice is not in vain. There will be no victory for me. I think that's good, that. The folly of sons who slight their father's plea. Now I must bury all that is dear to me in this world. There will be no victory for me. Right, so we're in a camp now. Boudica meets with the war chiefs and Belisarius. A sensational victory for the ages, but let's not bathe in glory just yet. Word shall soon reach the Roman army. But Boudica looks at Belisarius. He puts on a strong face, missing a full stop. Bloodaxe says, I say we march on Londinium next and head west. Torch everything that flies the eagle. And meet their army head on. Rigona, we must face the governor. There will be no escaping him. Caradoc is correct. The Romans will not abandon Albion no matter the pain we inflict on their cities. This revolt will be concluded by the sword. Their mighty Roman army expelled by a woman. I suppose that in itself would cause them the greatest shame. Very true, if it happened. So this is the midpoint now. So everything's gone down, and then Cerialis arrives at Mona. And then Paul is just playing tabula with Vestinus and Agricola. Cerialis comes in. Governor, a moment please, and why might I have the displeasure of your presence, Cerialis? A barbarian queen has raised an army of Britannia. They have ransacked Camulodunum and will be marching on Londinium as we speak. Impossible. Camulodunum is a spectacle from Tartarus Legatus. It is quite possible. We need every fighting man in the province, yours, whatever remains of the Valeria and his cavalry. We must send word to Postumus. I misspelled that guy's name last time. So it's Postumus. So why are you here? Glares at Cerialis. My legion was ambushed en route to relieve the city. We were outmanned dozens to one. So you were telling me you were forfeited Camulodunum to a barbarian woman, and you now need me to salvage your disgrace? I retreated because I must. There is no gain in the slaughter of my cavalry and me. It will take us days to reach Londinium, a fortnight for the army. Then let us pray the city remains when we arrive. And then they get ready to leave. Cerialis and Vestinus will come with me to Londinium. Tribunus delivered his message to Postumus. He should join us at... Right, I've changed that as well. So they're going to join him at Lecto Cetum now. So nonsense name. Originally it was Venonus. But the robot was saying that that one was probably the likely place. Ride with all haste. And then he chats with Agricola. He does the business in. Like 15 years later. He kicks ass all the way up to Scotland. I can't remember if he beat Scotland though. I'm not sure if he did. Ready the army and meet me at Lecto Cetum. We shall launch a counterattack from there. If you do not make it, I trust you to lead in my stead. Right, so they're beginning their march. The Celts are going to Londinium now. So they're near Camulodunum. Boudica looks back at Camulodunum. The entire city burns. There's just a cold dead look in her eye. And then Paul arrives at nonsense named Cetum. Right, they drink wine and socialise, and then a prostitute is trying to cop off with Paul, but he's having none of it. The warmth of my bed is reserved solely for my wife, whore. And then I changed it a bit. So she does the scuttle. And then Vestinus gently grabs her arm. My bed is cold. And the prostitute smirks, and Vestinus is like, yeah, fine, me tonight. And then Vestinus approaches Paul. If the numbers Cerialis speaks of are true, we will certainly perish in Londinium. We shall not fight them in the city. It would be death to do so, even with the armour. And he's like, what, 60,000 people call Londinium home? He doesn't even look at him, he's just haunted eyes. Do you have a battlefield in mind? And then boom, we get to see where the battlefield will be. So he just makes a note of the battlefield. Let us make haste, gentlemen. And then Boudica looks at Londinium in the far, far distance from this higher elevation of land. And she's like, make haste. So I suppose it's a bit of drama in the sense of... It's like they're both getting close now. Who's going to get there first? Paulinus looks over Londinium. Cerialis arrives on his horse. The German are catch up. So the city lives for now. Can't stop yawning. I'm just going to have a drink. Right, so they're initiating the evacuation, and then Marcus. I've expanded this guy a bit more. I've added that he's got a wife now. I actually quite like this guy now. I hate Romans though. Romans are on my hit list. Like the people I do not like list. Germans, Romans, and then Americans. I don't like Americans. It's like, how can I explain? It's like the Germans are my mortal enemy, the Romans are my ancestral enemy, and the Americans are my moral enemy. It's kind of how I see it. And I don't like Vikings either. They're dicks. A Corona Civic arrest nearby. It's a prestigious military decoration. So he's got a sick wife now. She's in bed. I hope you are not doing what I think you are. I still have one fight left in me. It will not fit. You have bigger breasts than I now. So they're having a bit of banter. He faces his wife, who's in bed, deathly pale. She battles a grave illness. It may be somewhat tight, but... And she's like, you need not die for me. Marcus comes to Julia's side and takes her hand. The army will come. But they both know that's not going to happen. We have lived a fulfilling life. Julia smiles. Vera. So he's going to stay and obviously try and protect her. Paulinus walks the street on horseback. Marcus stands by the open door of his home. How do you expect to defeat this barbarian horde with only cavalry? The army is more than a week away. The barbarians do not gather your possessions. I will not so readily abandon my home to backward savages. I earn my right to be here. Then you will die, all for a pile of bricks that will soon be a pile of ash. But he's like, I cannot leave, governor, because of his wife. And he sort of heeds the intent. So Paulinus carries on. Roman cornu resonates. Civilians leave. Woman approaches the governor. Horse lord, what news of the barbarians? We are evacuating the city. Take only the essentials. But my father cannot stand, much less walk. You leave or die. So it continues. The cavalrymen shepherd the civilians out the city. So Paulinus enters the procurator office. Slaves woman tidies the place. Is the procurator here? He fled the islands some time ago and left you here to die. She subtly shrugs. You shall come with me. Like Paul looks over the continuing evacuation. It's just like, oh, these people are gonna die. May Jupiter have mercy. Celts continue toward Londinium. The singing and chanting, joyful of the recent victory. Boudica's in a chariot, but she takes no part in the celebrations. The evacuation continues. How many? I estimate 20,000 on this exit. Move forward. Vestinus looks at Marcus and the other veterans. Why would they remain? More civilians, sick people, veterans, missing limbs. It's packed. There are thousands still. We evacuate as many as we can. That is all we can do. Paul watches the evacuation. He approaches the slave man, nudges him awake. We may be legionaries, fool, but it is us or 10,000 raging barbarians. Slave man joins the evacuation. The robot was saying, oh, this wouldn't have happened, but like, he can still have a heart. It's just that I see this as like a little bit of a personal moment. You know, he's a dick because he's a Roman, but I want to make him a bit honourable. He's not just because I don't like Romans doesn't mean that he has no honour or virtue. I like to get that across in characters. So Vestinus and Cerealis arrive. A veteran scout puts the barbarians a day out, then we leave at once. Governor, there are at least 10,000 people still in the city. The sick, wounded veterans, those who refuse to leave, their fate rests in Jupiter's hands. It's hard to know how many would have still been there. I think they said about 80,000 people died in total between the cities and possibly the villages. So it is very possible that there would be thousands of people still in the city. Just gonna have a drink again. Right, I should be back now. Yeah. Right. So Paul is going to give a final plea to Marcus. Do not throw away your lives so flippantly. It is our duty, Governor, as former legionaries, as men. We could use you in the army. It's very true. A lot of these, there would have been hundreds of veterans who would have stayed and fought for the city. We could use you in the army, but these people need us, Governor. I pray that God shall both bolster and guard you. When you defeat them, Governor, give them no mercy. Kill every one of them. By the sword or famine, they will all perish, so I swear to you. Right, so we're in countryside now. The Roman civilians and the cavalry and Paul are leading the civilians out. The child can ride with me, thank you, you're most gracious. We're at Verulenium. To be honest, it should just be day. Sick child rests on Polinus' horse. He's at the front of the group now. Have I... Kojid Ub. So, nonsense name. Again, there's no official record of like the king of this bit. They might not have had like a king per se. King Kojid Ubnuz. Kojid Ubnuz. So, nonsense name greets the Romans with several of his tribesmen. We shall rest here this evening, but your people are welcome to join us on our march west. Boudica possesses neither the goal nor reason to come here. We are a kingdom of Britannia. I would not be so certain, Britain or Romans, she will slaughter you all the same. So these guys are like, they're really pally with the Romans. They're kind of like a more controlled version of what the Iceni was. So if this guy existed, he was a proper lick ass. And the Romans basically almost controlled Verulenium. On behalf of Rome, I appreciate your hospitality. This will be remembered. Gives the sick child back. Tens of thousands of Celts march toward Londinium. Celts surround the city at every entrance and exit. Carnixes resonate. Marcus is like, form up. So the veterans are ready. Boudica faces her animated Iceni warriors and the great Celtic army, as Camulodunum fell before the inexorable might of our army. So shall their glorious fort of Londinium. I have asked you to join me thus, and you have fought valiantly, my kinsmen. The Romans believe a woman cannot lead. They believe you are weak for marching with me. I have seen these Romans, the ones who govern their cities. I would strip them of their manhood with a word. You shall take this city and all it holds dear. Our enemies shall find no weakness amongst us, no mercy. They shall only discover the unassailable strength of Albion. And then she says forward. Admittedly, that's not a real speech, that's something I've made up, but admittedly partly inspired by the Shadow of War game. But it has a lot of the truths that she would have said. The only speeches that are recorded are the Watling Street ones. Right, so the Celts storm the city now. She cuddles her daughters close. They shall know how vengeance goes. The entire world shall know. Right, so the Celts are just rampaging the city. So Marcus, he leads 200 veterans now. Wait, do I need to... No, it's alright. Our enemy may fight with the ferocity of wild beasts, but remember this. We are legionaries of Rome, forged in the fires of discipline and honour. Look around you. These are not just your comrades, but brothers in arms. Each of you has served this empire for more than 2 decades. We have trained, bled, and sworn to protect the empire that has given us purpose. We shall not forsake our duty now, and in the face of such a foe, we will greet the gods with grace and honour. I just think of my dad with this, because he was in the army when he was younger. It's like a bunch of people like my dad's age, just like, I don't know if like China or whatever invaded us, and we've just got a bunch of like 50-odd-year-old veterans just ready to fight them in the streets. Noble chariot comes down the street, bulldozes through the Roman lines, but in them Volsara sleeps out. Right, crazy fighting again. Crazy fighting. Right, Volosaurus isolates Marcus. So, blah, he gets the better of him. I am ready for death, barbarian, are you? And then he does like a brutal execution inspired by the game. Boudica watches as fires sprout across the city. Celtic warriors continue to funnel in. Roman veteran is on the ground. He gets bludgeoned by 2 Celts. They're just snuffing pockets of resistance. The headlopper is just in the middle of it and just doing the business. So Boudica enters the city. Her warriors just ransack the place. So most of Marcus's legionaries are dead now, and the Celts just brawl with the rest. But there are at least 2 Celtic deaths for each Roman veteran, because the veterans are still pretty good. Right, so Boudica's at the Temple of Mars now. Burn this pompous monument to the ground. They set it on fire. Mock us now. So that temple gets burnt down. A slave woman cowers by a building. Caradoc finds that I am not Roman. I know. I will bring no harm to you. I must know where the gladiators are held at the Ludity Gladiator School. Right, so Nonsense Name and Hagen and Tristan. Nonsense Name has got his ear against the door. The fire is near. See through the cracks. Set us free. That's other gladiators. Just kick the cursed thing open. Death is upon us. Make yourself useful. Right, so they get out. They escape. What have we walked into? And then Kuno Morus finds Caradoc. He's like, father. Caradoc holds Kuno Morus' face. I can die a complete man. Caradoc hugs his son. What is happening? You are free, son. Albion is free. And then Paul watches the fires in Londinium despite the great distance between the 2 settlements. And then moments later, because this is at night now, so everywhere's on fire. Crucified Romans, Celts pack the streets. So I did have a scene in the amphitheatre. I've removed that entirely now. Even though it was my favourite speech, inspired by the Scottish guy with GameStop, it just doesn't fit. It was more me trying to force it in. I'll get that speech in another project. It just doesn't fit this. I feel like I was forcing it. And the Roman veteran as well, when he said, what did he say now? You're straining your brain with all that thinking. Use that mouth for something useful. Even though that's such a good line, it is copying from the game, and also, would a Roman say use that mouth for something useful? You probably wouldn't, would you? Let's be honest. So I just deleted it all. So Boudica meets with the war chiefs and Volosaurus. We have not faced another day, another victory. Yeah, because the headlopper's all about him and Antedios. They're more than mates then. We have not faced true resistance yet, gentlemen. The Roman army shall be no easy feat. Yeah, so the blood axe isn't happy on Tedious. How many fighting men remain? Combined, we have over 150,000 able-bodied men, but most are not warriors. Half of my best have fallen. Of ours, Ragona, approximately 10,000 trained warriors. We have the numbers, but man for man, one Roman could be 10 of ours. Yeah, Bloodaxe isn't having any of it. You speak too fondly of them. They're not as brave as you all think. And then we hear the Carnixes from Ogbull the Defiant. And the Flame of War guys like, oh, a Carnix. So this is a bit like Lord of the Rings now, when the elves turn up at Helm's Deep. So hundreds of Celts march into the city with torches. Boudica leads them. Boudica arrives with dozens of Iceni warriors and war chiefs. Are you friend or foe? Boudica walks alone to meet Boudica. Do I have the honour of greeting Boudica? Who are you? The name is Boudica. Your cause has touched the hearts of men in every tribe of Albion. I could not believe the destruction of Colchester until I beheld it for myself. You are quite the wrath, Ragona. This is only the beginning. A great battle awaits us. Nonsense name may be my rig, but he has lost the heart of the Catuvillana. The Romans dwell in Verulenium as we speak. I think that's true. He is a treacherous man, this comes as no surprise. How many marched with you? Over 20,000 warriors, men as north of the Brigantes and south as the Canter. All of Albion heeds your cause. Boudica walks forth, looking at the new Celtic warriors. Boudica continues, our ancestors may have warred one another, but the future of Albion rests in all our hands. I say it's high time we eradicate this Roman blight. And then Volisaurus arrives. He rushes forth and offers his arm. Boudica braces him. I feared you would not come. Join us in the celebrations. It would be my pleasure. Yeah, so this is where I've removed the amphitheatre scene. So the Celts are just eating and drinking, filling the streets. Men talk of glory and battle. Some have souvenirs from the sieges. Dead Romans crucified on fire. Children play. Women provide food. So Boudica holds Lanosi and Taranisca close. She talks to Caradoc, Aeth and Synargus. So we're not hearing what they're saying. We're kind of just looking at them talking to each other. Boudica drinks with Volisaurus. He looks at Boudica. I feel as though I bear witness to Andraste in the flesh. Right, so the Romans are leaving Verulenium now. Nonsense name wears a vacant expression. The Roman governor rig. Servant brings Paul in. Will you join us? Nonsense name ponders deeply. Nonsense name looks back at his estate before joining the evacuation with Paul. So everyone's leaving Verulenium now. There are going to still be people there, but most of them are leaving. Right, Londinium. Right, so Boudica's meeting with the war chiefs again. Headlopper's like, I say we hold here, make a fort of the city. Let the Romans come to us. The Romans will not come here, my friend, even if we wanted to hold the city. But a traditional battle does favour them. Their weaponry, tactics and most of our experience will serve them well. We are best in close quarter brawls. We shall not have this luxury in the coming battle. In Bloodaxe, he's like, all this talk of tactics, we outman them nearly 20-1. No tactics can accommodate such a disparity of men. Our forefathers had the numbers, what happened to them? They got their ass kicked. He grunts under his breath, we cannot succumb to folly and arrogance at this most pivotal moment. We must face them with a disciplined, unified force. Boudica chips in. They will certainly be marching along Watling Street. All roads lead to battle there. So we march west. And Caradoc's like, well, what does the Ragona command? Everyone looks at Boudica. Verulenium. Those traitors must be brought to heel. The Celts set every building ablaze in Londinium. Burn it all down. Let our wrath be seen a millennia from now. So that's the Boudica what did they call it? The archaeology people know what I mean. Basically, you dig far enough and you can see all the ash from this time period. It's like the Boudican horizon or something like that. Boudican summit. Thousands and thousands of Celt leave the smouldering Londinium. They march for Verulinium next. Boudica looks back at Londinium. She wears a hardened look. Thousands of civilians and Verulinium civilians follow the cavalry. Watling Street, Manchester. So everyone's walking on Watling Street now. So Paul is at the rear of the group. He strides off the road and toward the forestry. Cerealis watches, along with Vestinus at the front. Paulinus arrives and looks back at Watling Street. The trees cover his flanks to the left, right and rear. The incline to the position will give a further defensive advantage. His mind is clear. This will be the battlefield. He goes to the two at the front. We shall fight them here. The terrain shall be our extra man. I really like that line. It's very true as well. Right, so we're back at Lecto Cetum now. And then Agricola's arrived with the armour. He's chatting shit with Vestinus. Paulinus is at the rear of the group. He stops his horse and looks back in the direction of Verulinium. The settlement burns. Londinium and Camulodunum too. I don't know if this is possible. So in my head, he's on his horse, he turns back, and then we see Verulinium burning in the distance. But then we'll move the camera, and then you might be able to see Londinium and Colchester. But I don't know if it's too far away. Agricola finds Paul. The army is ready awaiting your command. But Vestinus is listening in because he sees his ass. He thinks they're going to get beat. What of the Augusta? Posthumus has refused to aid. It is just us now. And Vestinus is like, oh my god, we're so dead. Right, so we're in Verulinium. The settlement burns. People trapped in burning homes. Celts kill anyone who remains. Boudica walks the nonsense names estate and throws a torch at it. The place goes up in flames. And then Paul is going to meet with Cerealis, Vestinus and Agricola to discuss the battle. He's going to illustrate, probably on like a map. We meet the barbarians here in Manchester, just off Watling Street. Place of the chariots, I think that's where it happened. We can use the terrain to our advantage and funnel them into our volleys. The incline will tire them, reducing the ferocity of their initial attack. What about the flanks and rear? We have cover with the trees. They will have to face us head on. This is our best chance to defeat them. And Vestinus sees his arse. We shall certainly be overrun and with no way of escape. No, the governor is correct in his assessment. The barbarians will not be able to break our shield wall in such terrain, but in their folly, they shall attack with full force into our volleys. The only reason my legion fell was because we were ambushed. If we had faced them in a pitched battle, we would have rendered their greater numbers mute. I'm surprised no one's giving him shit. Everyone gives him shit. Although I have removed a couple of scenes where the procurator gives him shit, because that wouldn't happen, admittedly, so I have removed that. Do we have a head count, Agricola? 7,000 legionaries between the Gemina and Valeria. I would say a little north of 10,000 with cavalry and auxiliary. Paul's just sort of thinking, and then Vestinus sees his ass. 10,000, we will certainly perish. And then Governor Paulinus chips in. They may have more than 100,000. What am I on about here? They may have more than 100,000 men, but we have 10,000 warriors look at us. They have not witnessed war, nor the true might of Rome, and when they do, their spirit shall shatter. Vestinus looks at Agricola to back him up. Agricola's kind of like, well, shit's happening, so I mean, we're going to have to do it, so why not face it with a smile? In victory or defeat, this battle shall echo through the halls of history for all time. Very true. And you also become quite famous. Right, we're in the Celtic camp. Boudica's tent, I've messed up. So Boudica can't sleep again. Yeah, there's people outside chatting shit. Boudica sits in front of a small fire alone. She prods it. Volsaris approaches. What ails you, Ragona? Many desire the power we possess as chiefs, but they do not know the weight. The crown is ours to bear alone. I don't know if they would have had like a crown, whether that makes sense. I like that line, but I don't know if it makes sense. Do you know loneliness, Velisaris? Sometimes, but my son's dead. My friends will keep me company. I lie alone each night. I do not have to, but I do. I could take the hand of any woman in my kingdom, but none compared to my wife. I've changed this line. The dead are dearer than the living. So originally he said her dead is so much better than anyone else alive. This is a bit more period appropriate. Just one sec, I'm gonna cough again. I'm back. Yeah, so I made slight changes here with the robot help. The robot's help. Turn that down. The dead are dearer than the living. How did she pass if you do not mind my inquiry? She was taken in childing. I held her as the light left her eyes. It has been so long I cannot recall her face anymore. Now my son, she died twice. I really like that line. Now my son, she died twice. I do not know your sorrow. I pray I shall never have to. The war keeps my grief at bay. To speak the plain truth, I do not think I shall see its end. I do not think I want to see its end. Ah, so tragic. I really like that as well. I do not think I shall see its end. I do not think I want to see its end. I think it's a bit more clunky without the apostrophes. So I would say, I don't think I shall see its end. I don't think I want to see its end. I think that's a bit smoother, but because they're speaking proper, it's a bit more spelled out. You will find another purpose. Your people need you, Velisaris. I pray for your heart. And then ... I despair for the coming fight. If I possess the strength to lead us to a victory. I really like this bit here. You are mighty, Boudica. Our army marches because of you. I would not have warred Rome alone. My people's spirit was broken until I spoke of you. That is your power. Man or woman, we care not. History shall know. A woman rallied Albion against the infinite might of Rome, and she was victorious. You are not just a mother of two girls. You are now the mother of this army. That is a woman's resolve, to lift the hearts of men. Let us fight for valour on the battlefield. You fight the battle for the heart and soul. I hope that's good. I think it is good. That's good. If someone can say that better than I can't speak it well. Is that the... Where is it? That references her speech. I've expanded her Watling Street speech. So she talks about a woman's resolve. To lift the heart's matters, fight for valor and battle. You fight the battle for the heart and soul. I really like that. Where is it? You are not just... You are not just... 1 minute. You are not just the mother of 2 girls. You are now the mother of this army. I think that's so important. It's perfect. It's a perfect description. Because I'm sick to death of people treating her like this boss babe who's going around like chopping Romans with a sword. That is not her power. Her power is her ability to speak and rally people. You are now the mother of this army. You fight the battle for the heart and soul. Let the men fight for valor on the battlefield. You don't need to be going in swinging a sword. And I don't know why. Every version of this story I've seen... Well, I say every version. The movie that came out, it was terrible. They did it. And also the script on the Script Revolution. They had her going around fighting people and spearing Romans, and I'm like, that's not her. It's just not her. We don't, but it's a very short-sighted way of viewing her. You're basically just making her a bloke in a wig, and it's just wrong. It's... Oh, women don't need to be fighting men to prove they're strong. When I think of a strong woman, I think of a mother. And that is what she is. She is the mother of the army. Yes, she is strong and fierce and an amazing speaker, but she ain't going toe to toe with the Romans in a fight. She'd get it instantly, and it's an instant death. The Romans are so overpowered. People don't understand how overpowered these guys are. I hate Romans, but you have to give them their respect. Right, so we're at Watling Street now. The 12,000 strong Roman army camps on the land. Governor Paulinus shows Legatus Agricola, Vestinus and Cerealis how they will set up. Legionaries shall hold the centre, auxiliaries and cavalry on the flank. As they approach, we send our 2 volleys into their mass. We hold the line until they are about to engage. We then counter-attack in wedge formation and walk them back. We dictate the pace of the battle. We dictate the pace of battle. We dictate the pace of the battle. The cavalry shall flank them and keep them ahead of us at all times within a central channel. Right, so rather than flank, I think they call it wings. Can my legion take right wing? Why? Preference. I vow for the left wing. Again, I'm kind of just trying to create a bit of drama. This probably isn't necessary and could be removed. Cerealis looks at Agricola, then Paul. Your legates are a little softer around the belly, Governor. Vestinus sees his ass, as he always does. You sentence your legion to death. You're the one vying for an out. I have never abandoned my legion in battle, never will. I would sooner fall on my own sword than flee with my pitiful life. Just 1 sec. And Paul's like, you will take the centre, Vestinus. Cerealis shall take right with his cavalry. Agricola on the left with the Gemini cavalry. Yeah, because Cerealis, he escaped with his cavalry, so of his legion, it's pretty much just cavalry. So he should be on the wing. Vestinus holds his tongue, yeah, because he's not happy about that. Advise your centurions and rest well. Cerealis leaves, so does Agricola. Vestinus is just like, oh my god, I'm so dead. Do I need to replace you, Legatus? If this is your will and our best chance of victory, I shall do what is required of me, Governor. I swear it. It's true. He'll die if he has to, but he doesn't die. With this, I'm not fully sure who the Legatises are. Cerealis is definitely there. But the history people said he didn't go to Mona. That he actually met up with them. Maybe at Let'll See him or something. Whereas in mine I did it where he went to Mona and told Paul. Which I think it's fine to have that. I think it makes more sense for the movie. I can change it if needs be. But this Vestinus guy, I don't know where I got his name from. Maybe someone said, oh, it might have been Vestinus or something. But the robot will say... The robot was saying that Agricola wasn't a legatus at this time. That he was like a military tribune or something. But then other people are saying, no, Agricola was there. Because apparently Agricola, he told this story to one of the historians. So he was definitely knocking about. It's just, was he there at the battle? I'm not too sure. But I think, as of now, I'll just keep him as the legatus, and then same with Vestinus. Vestinus, I'm kind of just making him up. As in, they would have had another legatus, but... Like I said, there's no name. You're the one vying for now. No, yeah, so he swears it right. So, Watling Street, approximately 200,000 Celts march with nobles and chariots. Women and children troop with wagons, convinced of victory they have come to watch. Celtic people from all over Britain have come. So they would have, as they're going on the march, they would have hired more people. Well, I say hired. More people would have joined them. So Agricola is obviously looking at the Celts approaching. His face drops as he looks on in the distance. I find myself envious of the blind man, unless my eyes deceive me. Please tell me they deceive me, Governor. Paulinus looks on. He can see the Celts. Strangely, he cannot help but smile. It seems as though the entirety of Britannia has come to war us. I like that line. Because imagine seeing that. Imagine seeing 200,000 people coming to you. Our victory shall be all the more greater. Celts have set up camp at Watling Street. Boudica looks across the field at the Roman camp. This is it, they are right there. Tomorrow destiny will come. Right, so it's same. So moments later at night, so she snuggles with the girls. It's scary quiet except for a few faint voices outside. I cannot sleep. Close your eyes and think of home. Are you scared, mother? Very. Tomorrow we will stand before our army and fire their courage for the coming battle. That is our duty. We may not be able to go sword to sword with the Romans, but we can give our brave men the courage to do so. Very true, very important. I could not do that. I would not have the words. I pray you shall never have to. If we are victorious, you should not have to. I like that as well. So yeah, admittedly, this is just a small dream. I mentioned it last time. So she's in all the dead bodies and that. Paulinus comes forward. Oh, I've got to kind of whiz through this battle because I don't have long. I should be leaving for work at like 4:10, but I can jib it, and so long as I'm finished by 4:30, I can get away with it. Boudica wakes violently, shuts at Sinatica's time has come. Celts are preparing for battle. Some itch for the fight, some are obviously quiet. So I've done it where, so particularly the younger Celts are the ones who are like, come on, let's have it. But then the veterans are like more reserved. You know, they know, although it looks like they're going to win, you know, they know that no battle is, we shouldn't be cheering for battle. Every battle is going to be horrendous regardless of outcome. The wagons are there, the women and children in the thousands. Boudica looks across the field at the Romans. This is their mighty armour. Belisarius grins. They are so few, our victory shall be swift. Caradoc, I think we should divide the tribes into 2 unified blocks. Our warriors will want to fight alongside their kin, that's true. Ensure we both march and attack together. On the field we are one. How should we approach Caradoc? Yeah, because that's another thing. She would want the counsel of this guy. This guy knows what he's doing. You know, Boudica, although she's great at the talking, she's not like a battlefield tactician. You know, she's gonna let this guy we'll do what this guy says. We send in the chariots first, soften the Romans as the army marches behind. The chariots shall retreat before the army arrives, else they will be trapped. Boudica says, I shall lead this initial charge, that's true. And he's like Rigona, because he's like, no, I don't want you to do it. I shall keep a safe distance from their javelins, you need not despair for me, true. If your mind is made. Ensure the warriors on the front line are well shielded, Belisarius. Additionally, we should field our best a few lines back. We do not want them dying in the volleys, very true. The Romans shall attack in wedge formations. It is crucial we do not let them determine the rhythm of the fight. Tell your men to withhold on the indent in their line, or they shall be mice to foxes. I pray our numbers shall ultimately overwhelm them. I am certain it will. No one listens to that. They just lose their heads and they just go straight into the wedge. So Vestinus sits in the mud looking at the Celts. He silently ponders what's to come. Agricola, quite the sight. It shall be all the more sweeter on the wing. Agricola's trying to cheer him up. You know, you'll be quite alright, my friend, do not fret. Say that to my legionaries' families when they undoubtedly perish in the middle of that horde. Oh man, he's just not happy, is he? To be fair, knowing you're going to be in the middle of all that, oh man. No wonder he's seen his ass. So Boudica puts on war paint. May I, mother, mighty warriors you are. So she gives the war paint to the girls. Boudica finds Sinatigus, who mentally prepares for the coming fight. Sinatigus, you shall come with me. I much desire to meet our foes. Admittedly, this wasn't recorded. It probably didn't happen. So Paul and Boudica meet now in the middle of the battlefield. This probably didn't happen, but it usually did. The leaders would usually meet in the middle, talk shit to each other, and then go back, and then the war starts. You know, the goal is to see if they can prevent the war before it happens. You know, maybe someone surrenders before it fights, but usually that doesn't happen. Usually they chat shit and then they go back. I think this is a good scene though. I will take it out if I have to, but I do like this scene. It's this line here. Right, Paulinus removes his helmet. He looks past Boudica at the Celtic army. You think yourself a king, woman? You shall meet a king's end today. Oh, that's so good. And then Sinatigus translates to Boudica. And she says, I could make a queen of you, governor. I like that as well. Because the whole gender thing is a really important aspect of this. Paul inches closer, glaring at Boudica with the coldest intent. When you return to your people, I want you to look in their faces. Know that you are responsible for the death of each and every one of them. Know that their bodies shall feed this land for generations. Sinatigus obviously whispers to Boudica, translating. You speak with such confidence of victory. Have you eyes? There are many more of us. And Sinatigus says, this battle favours us. Look at the numbers. How can you be so confident of victory? Dictate my intention word for word. Every man, woman and child, every animal you have summoned here today. All shall soon know the unrelenting might of Rome. Oh man, I'm like yawning as I'm speaking. None shall be spared. You do not possess the stomach for the brutality that is to come to this field. Should you have the misfortune of life when I find you, I dare not speak of the punishment the Emperor would inflict upon you and your daughters. Pray to your gods for a swift death this day. I think that's pretty good. He goes away. Oh, what? Yeah, that's my alarm for a minute. Right. I've got to hurry up. Polynius strides back to his armour, made of gods favour the righteous, and then Cerealis goes away. I want his head. Right, Boudica and Sinatigus get back to the armour. He helps the daughters inside. Stay beyond the javelin. Yeah, because she was with the daughters in her chariot. Stay beyond javelin range. They may refrain from attacking us, but they will not spare you. Osiris comes forth. I shall rally my warriors, you shall do yours. Remind them why we fight. Speak your heart. We march on your call. May Andraste herself personally guard you. Find me when we are victorious. We shall feast on Rome's ruin. And the girl says, what did you say to the Roman mother? That we shall defeat them once and for all. You are witness to history here today. Very true. So Paul and Cerealis are back with the armour. Paul gives his speech. This is correct. Ignore the racket made by these savages. There are more women than men in their ranks. They are not warriors. They are not even properly equipped. When they see our weapons and feel our spirit, they will crack. Stick together, throw your javelins and push forward. Knock them down with your shields and finish them with your swords. Forget about plunder. When you are victorious, you shall have the world. I very slightly altered that. It's the same thing, but I just reworded it slightly. Right, here we go. Boudica's speech now. She's back at her armour. It is not as a woman descended from noble ancestry, but as one of the people that I am avenging lost freedom. My scourged body. The outraged chastity of my daughters. I really like that line. Outraged chastity. Roman lust has gone so far that not every person's, not even age or virginity, are left unpolluted. Ferocious support. Right, so I've expanded this now. This is real to what she said, according to the history people. But heaven is on the side of a righteous vengeance. A legion which dared to fight has perished, that's Cerealis. The rest are hiding themselves in their camp, Posthumus, or are thinking anxiously of flight, Vestinus. They will not sustain even the din and the shout of so many thousands, much less our charge and our blows. If you weigh well the strength of the armies and the causes of the war, you will see that in this battle you must conquer or die. This is a woman's resolve. As for men, they may live and be slaves. So, I did mention in the last video, I felt that was a bit girl bossy. Can't lie. But if she said that, it's wrong of me to be like, oh, you seem a bit girl bossy, because she's not a girl boss. She's proven throughout the movie she's not a girl boss. She's just a very strong monarch. And fair enough, you know. The only issue is, if I was there, I'd be like, 1 minute, yeah, you're charging, but you're not actually getting involved in the fight. And it's easy for you to say, you're not going face to face with the Romans. You're sort of like, yeah, I lead it, but then I'm sort of jibbing it to where I'm not going to get killed. I mean, which is fair enough, because you are the monarch. And as a woman, you shouldn't be like in the middle of the Romans. I do like this speech. But heaven is on the side of a righteous vengeance. A legion which dared to fight has perished. The rest are hiding themselves in their camp or thinking anxiously of flight. They will not sustain even the din and the shout of so many thousands, much less our charge and our blows. If you weigh well the strength of the armies and the causes of the war, you will see that in this battle you must conquer or die. This is a woman's resolve. As for men, they may live and be slaves. Oh, it's so good. Why don't people use this speech? Both the versions I've seen, to be fair, the movie that got released, no offence, it was terrible. The one on Script Revolution, theirs is a lot better compared to the movie. But even they have changed the speeches. I don't think they even have Paul's speech at the end. Like, they don't have Paul's speech. They give Boudica her speech, but whilst it has a bit of the essence, they've changed it, and I don't know why, because this is perfect. It's so perfect. I can't write anything better than this. I can't. So why would I try to write something better? So the army loves it. Boudica looks at Volsarus, signals to him, faces the Romans. I think this would be a nice little scene. So like, we'll hold on her face, and you can just see like one eternal moment. A tear slips down her face. Acceptance, because while she's confident of victory, she knows that it's going to be a bloodbath no matter what, and it's like, wow, it's like, this is it. This is everything that they've done. It leads to this moment. You know, can she win? She raises her spear to war, and then she leads in a chariot. Dozens of noble charioteers, including Senatagus, ride with Boudica. And obviously the army starts marching. The Romans silently watch. These chariots shall not break our line. And Veshnus is like, hold, stand your ground. And then Boudica slows down, and she watches the noble chariots racing toward the Romans. The noble chariots meet the Roman front line. Draw your swords. Occasional cries of Roman is hit. Maintain the line. And then this guy, I give this guy a moment. Again, this wouldn't have happened. He'd got his ass kicked for doing this. But I thought, why not have him just be a bit of a badass? I'll remove it if I have to. So a Roman legionary hurls a javelin at approaching chariot. So he steps out of line on the left wing and he hurls his chariot. He hurls his javelin at the chariot. The Iceni noble flies out of the chariot in motion, and then the legionary stabs the noble dead. And Agricola's like, get back in line, gods, what a belligerent fool. Do you think yourself Caesar? I like that line. Do you think yourself Caesar? Oh, he'd be so angry with that guy as well. And then another chariot plows into legionaries, blah blah blah. 5 charioteers die. The march hastens. Oh man. March hastens. Charioteers retreat. So does Boudica. Paul says throw the javelins. The javelins just blitz through people. Wedge formation. March. Yep, sword to sword, shield to shield. Just pure carnage. Celts getting their ass handed to them. The Roman steamroller tramples the Celts as they progress downhill. The terrain now favours them greatly. Boudica watches the battle from the relative safety of the flank. Paulinus now meets the deceased bodies of the Celtic front line. He kills any surviving injured Celts. So not a brawl at the front. Romans are steadfast and disciplined, cutting through the Celts. Boudica watches. Are we winning, mother? And she has to put on a brave face. Yes we are. But she knows they're not. And she knows that the wagons are going to trap them. So the cavalry flank on the sides, funneling the Celts into a central channel. Celts are getting their ass handed to them. Right, so a young Celt crawls away from a oncoming legionary, and then Cunomorus basically saves the young Celt, takes him to safety. The battle sort of stops in this little area. Centurion rotates the wedge. Roman legionaries at the front swap out for a fresh line. That's a real thing. And then this absolute unit of a guy comes to the front. Caradoc is pleading for Cunomorus to retreat. And then Justus sort of steps out of line and he's like, barbarian in English. And then, again, something like this, I'm being a bit gratuitous because it's a film and that, probably. I'll keep it in for now, but I understand if it has to get removed. But why not have some badass moments? So, the absolute unit fights Cunomorus. It's a meaty paragraph. I've got to rush through it because I've literally got to be going to work. So, yeah, the unit of a Roman ends up beating Kuno Maris. Caradoc utters a horrific cry. The Romans use this to march up to and beyond Justus, engaging the Celts again. Caradoc has a limp from an injury. Trudges on to meet them. He's brutally killed. You know what? Roman legionaries, because it is passive that Roman legionaries brutally kill him. Caradoc lands in the mud. His dead eyes lock with Kuno Maurus's. Roman feet tread on them. Despite the bridges on to meet them, Roman legionaries brutally kill him. Right, the Celts are in near full retreat. Senatigus pleads for Boudica to go. And then Belisarius and Antedius, who is the old Gomer's blood axe, they're in the thick of it. It's like, we're going to be trapped. And then that Antedius sort of grips Belisarius and pushes him. It's like, fall back, Rig. And then Belisarius reluctantly retreats. Antedius faces down the Romans, gets absolutely annihilated. Where is it? Snatches the sword. Right. Centurion severs Antedius' arm and rams his sword into his gut. Centurion pulls out, Antedius falls to his knees. A Roman legionary stands up and stabs his throat. Like, in my head, that's honestly so brutal. So Belisarius sees Antedius die. Oh, Belinus the Bard. Lad the Bard's gonna die. He crawls back, he looks at the oncoming Roman legionary. It seems my song comes to an end unless we could be friends. And then Belinus the Bard parries a strike. The legionary stabs him in the stomach. Stab, ferocious and swift. Stab to the chest. That's just like a fucking ding, 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 ding. Like a triple stab. I just made the dogs bark. As the Celts retreat further, the Romans increase the pace of their advance. Boudica pleads for the wagons to get the wagons moved and for everyone to retreat, and there's loads of women and children in this area. The Roman march continues. They carve through the retreating Celts. Right, so Hoglet the headlopper is going to get his head lopped off. Two others stab him, falls with his knee. This reminds me of something from 300, you know. He charges and bludgeons the hands of a legionary. He goes to stab. Swivel and Bosch Togo stabs him. No, two others stab him. He falls to his knees, stabbed through the throat from both sides. It's like a tag team double stab to the stomach, double stab to the neck. And then Boderix, he also takes a Roman sword to the gut, so he's dead. The flanks are covered. The Celts, the flanks are covered. Here we go. The flanks are covered. The Romans funnel the Celts toward the line of wagons that will act as a wall, preventing many more from escaping. It's a bit more active now. By now there are north of 50,000 dead Celts, only 300 Romans. Hurry, get them moved. Women try to shift the wagons, but they can't really. Ace finds Boudica. She manages to get her in a chariot. Retreating Celtic warriors now meet the line of wagons. Women and children are amongst the carnage in the hundreds. It's just an absolute crush. Belisarius is in the thick of the fight, and again he cannot retreat anymore. He rallies some of his men, but then he ends up getting killed. Parries an attack, barges the legionary shield. The legionary stumbles over the dead body in the mud. Another legionary slashes Belisarius' chest. Another pierces his neck from the other side. Yank two swords through the abdomen. And then the old Mog Flame of War guy launches axes at the Romans. One hits its mark. A legionary blocks an axe with his shield and yanks a javelin out of a dead Celt and throws it at Epinos. Senaticus ends up falling to Agricula's javelin on his horse. So he lands unconscious in the mud. He ends up breaking his leg. Polynice is at the rear of the army, climbing over body after body, stabbing any who are alive. And then he kills this young Celtic farmer's son. Vestinus trudges through the bodies. He finds Polynice. Right, so Polynice actually, I gave him a bit of a heart here. So Polynice looks across the battlefield, 60,000 dead. The sight even breaks his seasoned heart. He silently and subtly weeps. Legatus Vestinus steps over body. He steps on an injured Celt who instinctively sits up, screaming in pain. Vestinus slashes him with equal instincts. My heart, barbarian, usually sees its beat. Vestinus continues to pall. Looks as though victory is at hand. Forgive my reservations before the battle, Governor. I clearly underestimated the prowess of our army. Polynice takes a deep breath to compose himself. He does not look at Vestinus. Victory is not ours until every barbarian is dead, Legatus. March onward. Vestinus leaves. Polynice looks on. By now the Romans have pinned the fleeing Celts all the way back to their original position. So it's just absolute chaos here. Romans stabbing everyone, women, children, warriors, it doesn't matter. Cavalry and auxiliaries have completely shut off the flanks. There's no escape. This is horrible. A child is stuck on the ground, being trampled. Every attempt they make to stand and flee is subdued by Celtic feet. The child's head is forced into the mud, suffocating. Agricola and a centurion scour this area of the battlefield, stabbing injured Celts, particularly the noble charioteers. Sinatigus wakes. Oh man, I'm yawning. Sinatigus wakes with a broken leg. He groans, seeing the approaching centurion. He crawls. What have we here? A worm in the grass. Have mercy, I am no threat to you. Legatus, this one knows Latin. I really need a piss, so I'm just gonna have a toilet very quick. Oh, that probably caused such a loud noise on the mic. I've just somehow caught my leg on the mic, on the wire. Hopefully it's not messed it up. Oh. Right, I'll be back in a minute. Yeah, I nearly pretty broke the mic. I caught my leg on the wire. It probably made a massive noise. Hopefully it's still working now. I think it is. I need to hurry up. I'm supposed to be at work already. I can get away with a bit longer, but I need to really hurry up. Keep moving forward, kill them all. He stabs anyone who's still alive. They're just stabbing everyone now, even the baggage animals. That's true. They slaughtered everyone and everything. So, just beyond the Celtic position, small skirmishes continue in the retreat. Paulinus helps a ninja centurion getting treated, either doesn't already. He takes precedent. Agricola drags Sinatigus to Paul. This barbarian knows Latin. He leaves. My friend, my little Latin-speaking barbarian friend. Where is she? I have not had the pleasure of discovering her corpse. I have not the knowledge I lost sight of her earlier in the battle. To be honest. My friend, my Latin-speaking barbarian friend. I could probably... Where is she? I have not the knowledge I lost sight of her in the battle. Quite the wound you have there. You will not be walking for a while, if ever. Says a woman who's under a pile of bodies. Leave her be. I will spare her life if you give me your right hand. He doesn't. Paul kills the woman. I lack the words to describe the depth of your depravity. How many of Rome's women and children have you slaughtered in your plunder of our cities? You came to our land, slaughtered our people, stole our young, our crops and wealth, indebted us with your coins. Return to your city of stone and false gods, I beg you. I long deeply for the sight of Rome, for I seem to have forgotten its beauty. He looks over the battlefield. I have witnessed many a battle, but none with death like this. I imagine this is what Tartarus looks, sounds and smells like. That's the equivalent of hell. Although I'd argue this universe is hell. Governor Paulinus stands on Sinatigus' leg. It is not so easy fighting an army, is it? You should pray that the gods harbour mercy we do not possess. And then Paul stabs Sinatigus in the throat. He's choking on his own blood. When this war is over, there will not be a home standing, a field unburned in your godless kingdom. Know this. If not by my sword, your people will starve. I will rid all maps of your presence as we should have done so long ago. You shall be a footnote in history, only then will I return home. Behold the grace of the Silver City, know the love of my wife and daughter again. I am kind of just implying, he would have had a wife. There's no account of, it's not that this is wrong so much as there's just no account of it. But I thought I'd try and give him a bit of personality. Cerealis treads over bodies and he covers his nose. There are approximately 400 dead. What of the barbarians will be counting for days? 80,000, I think, died. So 400 Romans to 80,000 Celts. Gather our dead. Let the land feast on the rest. The sight shall deter them from revolting again. I think that's true. Surviving Celts set up a camp. Boudica's daughter, what becomes of us? She strokes Tyrannica's head and face. I do not know. Why did the gods want our defeat? I do not know. Tyrannica wipes Boudica's tears, shuts her eyes. You were brave, mother. Father would be so proud. Sometimes bravery is not enough, dear. True. Rest your head, we shall be home soon. Again with this, I'm assuming that she would have got home. She would have gone home and then poisoned herself. It's possible she poisoned herself on the journey, but she definitely escaped the battle. Hundreds of surviving Celts set up camp. Everyone is downtrodden. Boudica finds the 8th. I must find Senatagos and our war chiefs. Search far and wide for them, so they're going to look for our guys. Senatagos, Caradoc. Caradoc is dead, Ragona. Are there any Trinovantes here? Do you know Volosaurus' fate? I do not, Ragona. And then some other Trinovantes. Ragona, the rig is dead. And Tedious too, I saw them. Boudica's heart breaks. 8th finds us. Senatagos fell in a cavalry charge. Caradoc, I do not know. And then Togo the Courier was seen in battle. The man doubts he lived. Ugly silence. What now, Ragona? I'm assuming this is what happened as well. I advise you to travel as far south or north as your legs permit. Oh man. Yawning. Take refuge in a client kingdom. Do not speak of this battle. You were not there. Boudica leaves with 8th. What is our fate? I shall return home with what remains of our kin. I shall decide from there our course of action. Right, so we're in the Iceni kingdom. A boy watches everyone coming home. He runs off to his mum. And then we just get a shot of Boudica and the survivors coming home. Right, so Iceni women and children come forth from homes to greet the returning warriors. The boy is at the front of the crowd with his mother. His father finds him in the crowd. Have we defeated the Romans? The father looks at the mother. She knows. People crowd around Boudica, many with solemn looks as the news of the defeat spreads. I return to you today, but not as your victorious queen. Although we fought bravely, the battle has not favoured us. Rome will come to extinguish the embers of our spirit and the essence of our freedom. We have lost much, our brave warriors, our kin, but in our sorrow let us remember, our fight was not in vain. Albion fought as one on the battlefield, and our defiance shall echo to the far reaches of their empire. Victory belongs to Rome, but our hearts remain ours. We can still fight, Ragona. There are thousands of us able and willing. The other tribes shall join us. The time for war has fled. The other tribes will not assist us now. Boudica huddles her daughters close. The Romans will come for me, and all in their path shall feel the weight of their sword. I called you to war, but now I bid you protect yourselves and your families. Seek refuge. I made a few missing words. Seek refuge in a client kingdom. If they come for you, then we shall fight them again, Ragona, and die if we must. Boudica is at Prasutagus' burial mound. We will not soon be strangers. Right, so Boudica's going to send the daughters away. I'm assuming this is what happened. There's no record of what happened to the daughters, but I'm assuming... I don't think she would have killed them. I think she would have sent them away with, like, family or something. So she's brawling with every fibre of her being to maintain her composure. Why will you not join us? When it is safe, we shall see each other again. She's lying. Be still, my child. I need you to be brave for me. Years from now, you shall be queen of our beautiful kingdom. May Indrast grant you a reign far longer, far kinder than mine. I do not want to leave. Fate wills it. And then that Iscus guy is like, come girls, we must depart. Remember me not as your queen, but as your mother. A mother who loves you more than life itself. I think that's okay. One last goodbye and the girls leave with Iscus. So Boudica is in a sleeping place now. And then she looks where the king would be. So she's kind of like, you know, she's at that point now. So 8th comes in with a small bowl of poison. Ragona, please do not do this. They will torture me in ways you do not know. I will not give them the pleasure. Boudica drinks it. Please, and then 8th goes to leave, but Boudica reaches out to her. Please be with me, of course. Was it injudicious of me to lead our people to war? No, we had to fight after what they did. And then, because what I wanted to do with this as well, I wanted her to be very personal with this 8th. She could just be like, oh, you're a servant, you're beneath, but I kind of wanted her to see her almost as like a friend or daughter type thing. And she sort of like leans into it. She's like, "Do not be here when the Romans come." And then Boudica utters a final breath, "Be in peace." Funeral procession now for Boudica. Yeah, speaks to proclamations. People cry. Boudica's body burns. Ace watches tearfully. Fade to. Paul is basically stood where Ace was stood. It's sort of like, in my head, it's just a smooth transition to this, and I think this is a good ending for it. He stands before Boudica and King Prasutagus' burial mounds. King Prasutagus' estate burns behind it. The entire kingdom is ablaze. Right. Obviously, I've had to rush through this. 3 hours. It's because like, I'm literally... I've got to shoot off to work very quick. I'm just trying to think of like a closing statement. I definitely think this version is better now. I think the dialogue is a lot better. I've really leveled up the dialogue. That was something both in the movie and the script on Script Revolution, that they had a lot of modern dialogue in them. And it's something that I really want to pride myself on, is getting rid of it all. And I feel like it really is very strong now. You know, is this draft perfect? No, because it's still early in the process. But I think it's definitely reasonable. The dialogue's definitely there. I'm going to do a video about how I did it. Because I think what I'm going to do, I might even do the same thing with Bloody Mary. Because even though my Bloody Mary dialogue is, I think it's decent, if I could get the actual sentence structure of Shakespeare era, I feel like I could just level it up that bit more. As in, it's good, but I think I could make it great if I did what I did with this. But I do think this story will be amazing if it's done right. It's just a shame that... I don't... Why is everyone obsessed with making her like a boss babe? Why does she have to fight the Romans sword to sword? I don't know why everyone has this need for it. Both professional and amateur writers. And it's not just with Boudica, it's... In fantasy... Well... The worst one for me is bloody Galadriel in Rings of Power. Like, Galadriel's supposed to be this beautiful, elegant, powerful woman. She doesn't need to be running around with a sword, fighting orcs. It doesn't... That's not her character. She has, like, godly powers. At least when she has the ring. And something like this, Boudica was never going sword to sword with the Romans. Like, it'd just be an instant death. It would be foolish of her to do so. Her ability comes from her presence and her ability to speak. You know, being the mother of the army. I think that's such a good line. But it just gets disregarded. But no one likes it when films are in... What's the word? I can't even think of the word. But when you make women physically overpowered and it doesn't make sense, I'll probably get accused of sexism, but it's not sexism, it's just the truth. Women don't need to be able to beat up men to prove that they're strong. Women's strength is different to a man's strength. Men are very physical in nature. Whereas with women, it's supposed to be like, when I think of a strong woman, I think of a mother. I don't think of some boss babe who's beating up men. I think of a woman who is nurturing and caring. And I don't know why. Why is that getting disregarded? It never used to. This could be such a good story. If this is done right, it'll be an amazing story. It really will. And Hollywood should like it because, you know, with Boudica being a woman and everything. She is a strong woman. She's literally a perfect example of a strong woman. She deserves a movie that can give her justice. But no, in the one that they did, they have to make her a caricature who can just beat up everyone she comes across. It's just not. It's not true. When you're doing a historical story, it's so important to make it as accurate as possible. Right, I should probably stop rambling now because I'm late for work. So go and clean some toilets for minimum wage, eh? And then I don't know whether I might do a short video tonight explaining how I used a robot for the dialogue. People probably moan at me for that because people hate AI, but I just think it's a good tool just to help elevate certain things. It's my dialogue still, it's just it helps me improve the tone of it. What else was I gonna say? I think I should just stop rambling. I need to go. I need to get going. So I'll see you in a bit.